Is this the dagger? Oh, unbelievable! How about that?
It's time for Sportstime on Sports56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Beautiful morning.
In and rolling on a Monday, October 10th, 2022 edition of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and with Stats. We're always live from the Family Leisure Studios. Beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. I am former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn on Twitter at G_Kuhn71. Producing the program is Brian Dacus. He's pulling the hero shit today on Twitter at Brian_Dacus. Brian, hello. How are you?
Howdy.
Tired? You making it?
I'm here.
We got coffee out there. We can keep you rolling somehow, right? And my partner does pre and post for the Ole Miss Football Radio Network. He is Brett Stats Norsworthy, fresh off a winning trip from Nashville. He's on Twitter at Brett Norsworthy. Brett, hello.
Good afternoon to all, and Friday will go down for this radio show as one more kick below the belt, won't it?
That was one of my worst sports watching days.
And they parallel.
Years.
You don't notice relief pitching and special teams until it beats you.
That's a good point.
That's a great point. And Cardinals watching that early in the day while we were I had a conversation with Bruce Marshall about the weekend slate. And he had picked the Tigers to win, by the way.
Bruce went 5-2 in college.
While we were discussing with him. So watching the Cardinals do that, and then what occurred in Liberty Stadium on Friday night, the words aren't there for how that ended. Just one of the most brutal collapses I've ever seen in my Memphis football watching playing history. And obviously, like, those games against Houston always come down to the wire, and they're always there's been
Arkansas State Hail Mary, the famous 4th and 29 to Gino Guidugli for Cincinnati, but
there's been some
Friday ranks way up there.
There's been some times against Houston where the heart's gotten ripped out. 2014
and
was one.
To you.
2015 was, about as brutal as it gets, too.
It's a loss that can be defining. It's a loss that can create a couple of losses at East Carolina and at Tulane doesn't help.
But if you really look at that game, it's bizarre, Brett, because I thought they played unbelievably well for 3 quarters and 10 minutes. 3 quarters and 10 minutes. I thought they were fantastic. I thought they played their most complete game of the year up until the final 4 to 5 minutes. And in those final 4 to 5 minutes, everything got lost. And I guess you could group in the kick return as part of that, so the final 8 minutes. But 33-32, and it has to make you second guess how special teams are being coached and played at the University of Memphis. This is something back in the day. This is under Fuente and Norvell. You don't have to worry about recovering an onside kick. Don't have to worry about getting a 100-yard kick return on you. But if it ain't one thing, it's another. And last year we saw field goal kicking come back and have the Tigers in bad positions late in games, lose games in the fourth quarter. This year, with this game, field goal kicking was fine. I think Chris Howard's been near automatic this year.
It was too many.
But instead,
one conversion of touchdown and game's over.
But instead, you surrender a kickoff return and an onside kick recovery that are just inexplicable in the situations that they were presented to you.
It was rough to watch. The Tigers had it. Still hard to believe with that little time to play and that big a deficit. Everything had to conspire imperfectly for the Tigers. It did, and Houston gets the win and saves their season, maybe saves Dana Holgerson's tenure as coach of the Cougars, and they're off to the Big 12, and the Tigers have the brutal pieces to pick up.
And I was harboring a Holgerson, by the way, on Friday night. My man Clay was in town. Clay needed a place to stay, so I get a card taken away, but I help a buddy out when he's in need. But you look forward at the schedule, Brett, and you have ECU, Tulane on the road in a row, and then UCF at home. That game against Houston tells you you're capable of winning those games. But at the same time, what does this team do to respond? Did this tear their heart out? Because I remember a time in 2015.
Is it defining?
I know it was later in the season. But 2015, we played Houston after that nasty loss against Navy at home. We were ready to bounce back. We go down to Houston. We lose a late lead. We go down. We try to kick a field goal with Jake Elliott, and he misses it late, and he was just automatic that entire year. That tore our heart out for the rest of the year. We lost that next game to Temple, nasty. We were favorites on the road against Temple, and we just we came out flat. We came out uninspired. We didn't get it back until SMU, and SMU was a bad team. But we didn't get it back until SMU to end the year. So there's one of two ways you go in this situation if you're a football team in the position of the Tigers. You either bow up and show what you're capable of down the stretch of the season, or you sort of falter in the way of some adversity. And I think it's yet to be seen how this team will respond. And Coach Silverfield, the staff, is going to have to try to push the right messaging this week, because it's very, very easy to fall into the trap going on the road, being uncomfortable with that loss you just took at the hands of Houston.
Now, not back home again until Saturday, November 5th. Only one more Saturday conference game remains, and that's Saturday, November 5th against Central Florida. What will be the appetite of the fans by then?
Right.
What will be the dynamic around the team? This is one that can stay with you a while.
Mm-hmm. Now, first out of our show brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Let me go ahead and lay out the show. We'll get back to this conversation. Tigers lost in the worst way. We know about that. We also are going to have college football week 6 to discuss, SEC recap, AAC recap. By the way, in the AAC, the craziest result of the weekend, 53-21 Navy beats Tulsa. I
ran all over.
I couldn't believe my eyes seeing that. Philip Montgomery's seen that team a few times, Navy too, which is just, it's weird that they couldn't do anything against that Navy
Tulsa
triple
team
option.
that was very respectable against Ole Miss.
Also, NFL Week 5 almost gone. We got Monday Night Football tonight. Chiefs host the Raiders. We have preview, top 4, which for the Raiders is tough. Like my favorite 4 for the Raiders. A lot of old school players.
For you guys' generation, it is tough. For me,
easy.
It could be 25 people.
Yep.
I could go just offensive line. I didn't. I could just go Upshaw, Snell, Otis. That's pretty good right there. Dave wasn't offensive line, but
Dave Casper, tight end.
But he was a good inline
Did you
blocker.
mean Otto?
Jim Otto, number 0.
Yeah.
Did I say Otto?
Yeah, I think you said Otis. But
Okay.
unless there's
I was
an
thinking
Otis.
Jim Otis
I
with the big red.
I don't know. Unless there's an Otis I didn't know about.
I don't know what I was doing there. Jim Otto, thank you.
But
I did say Otis. I had Jim Otis and Jim Otto confused.
We will preview that game.
They looked a lot alike.
We'll get to our favorite 4, and we'll make picks. Also, we're going to have Monday
Harry
overreactions.
Shue from the University
How about
of Memphis.
that? That's a good one.
We could go with.
That's a good one. We're going to have Monday overreactions, extreme overreactions, and who won the weekend, because it's Monday. You have to do that. We'll do that for college football and for the NFL, and then the MLB divisional series is they're all here. That was a quick wild card round. Mets. Can we say the Mets blew it now? Now we can say the Mets blew it, right? Come on. I mean, come on.
Everything
First team
everybody's scared of with Buck, it proved out.
Yep.
Including
checking for a substance and trying to make an excuse.
Including being a pinhead. That was bad look.
That was stupid. That was stupid.
Why?
Look at those ears. There's something on those ears.
There wasn't, though.
But the
I still
umpire
think there
had
was.
checked him.
I think he had icy hot.
We'd
on
done
his
our
ears.
check. We'd done our
Yeah.
Nothing.
kind of when the casino dealers do their little hand dance
Yeah.
for the camera.
They didn't find anything.
They had done that.
It's not foreign substance, but I do think
I
he
would
had
have drilled
icy
the
hot
next
on
guy
his-
if
on
I'd have
his
been
ear.
him over being checked. Like, look, I got checked, and then y'all checked me. Then y'all sent me through TSA.
They did that.
No, your
your
lineup just can't hit, Buck. You guys aren't hitting the ball. That's what it is.
Buck ended up being like that, and I love him. I loved him at State in 1977.
But we can call the Mets, that was a choke, because first team to win 100 games and not reach the divisional series in MLB history.
Oh, speaking of the Mets,
here's
something.
That's the definition of choke.
I wouldn't call it.
Here's
Here's
something we
That's
got
the
to do
definition of it.
right now around sports. What's the song for the relief pitcher? The horn?
Narcos. Get rid of it.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of going to the Liberty Bowl and hearing
Yep,
that at the
that's a
beginning
good-
of the second half.
I think that's
every
fair.
game. I hate it.
Bryant, Vandy wanted to play it.
Everyone's playing it now.
Look,
I don't get it.
I know game ops get together with other game ops people, and anything that works, you try the Macarena
Hey,
before
get
you
rid
do
of
the
it.
stupid
I'm
horn
tired of
again.
it.
Stop the horn now. Except for
tired of
admits.
And I think it has made Edwin Diaz the single most overrated relief pitcher in the MLB too. All of the attention he's gotten. He's good. He's fantastic.
He's good, but it's almost a
damn.
red carpet flowing robe treatment with that stupid horn.
It's like he's Eric Gagne on whatever that. How many saves did he have in a row? They're acting like he's Eric Gagne from back.
He's
in the
not
day.
Trevor Hoffman.
Yeah, I mean he's not that good. He's good.
He's not Lee Arthur Smith from Castro.
He's not
Louisiana.
Emmanuel Clace.
He's not.
I mean he's not the best.
He's not locked in Jason Mott, 2011.
Right. I
Love
mean,
you, Jason Mott.
right. I mean, by the way, I get to see him at Christian Brothers every other Friday. I think Christian Brothers has Friday games at home the rest of the way. But yeah, I
The
just
horns
it's
driving
too
me
much.
crazy out at other
It's
sports.
too much. I'll give you that. Also, Cardinals weren't even close. Well, and we knew after the ninth inning, the top of the ninth blow up on Friday, that there was no chance they were going to win that next game. Right?
You could see it coming.
Just 0% chance. And
I was lost yesterday. First Sunday with no Cardinals baseball since Sunday afternoon, April 3rd. I was stumbling around the house. Where's the Cardinal game?
What'd you do? Just take a walk? Like,
kind of walked around lonely.
oh gosh.
Had a few conversations with myself.
You could have called me on the phone.
Long walks in the fall.
I was hanging at the house. My phone was available. You could have gave me a call.
Got a hotel notice today. I had canceled my rooms around dates around the World Series just to verify that your room's at such and such location.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, I was there for you. If you wanted to call me and
I
have a
guess I could go up
conversation.
to St. Louis on those dates and just kind of hang, but wouldn't be very much fun. Walk
Right.
around the ballpark lonely.
As far as our guests are concerned for today, we won't be lonely. We're gonna have a few. 3:30, we have our Tigers Player a Week. If you want to find all of our interviews that we've had every Monday with Tigers players, go to sports56whpq.com and click on our featured audio. But today we're gonna have the Tigers breakout tight end, Caden Priestcorn. And we'll discuss things with him at 3:30. Where is the team at right now? How's he feeling about
tight end's
his
always open.
performance?
Aren't they?
Most of the time.
I mean, the safety valve of all time.
Mm-hmm. And Caden's done a really good
Sure
job
has.
at becoming that for Seth Henning.
Great
4
hands,
o'clock.
good blocker.
And he's been unbelievable in the red zone. Like, unbelievably good in the red zone. 4 o'clock, David Cobb will join us to talk about this week and the upcoming week in college football. And we're going to have to focus on that Tennessee-Alabama game, 3-6. That is going to be unbelievable.
Third Saturday in October's back.
Okay, here's the thing.
Tennessee
Is Tennessee back? That's a fair question, right?
Saturday at 6 o'clock, if they beat Alabama, there's no doubt.
That game against LSU was out.
Goalposts come
all
down.
together.
A party on Rocky Top, unlike maybe we've ever seen. Because,
Alabama,
ding dong, the witch is
Hey.
dead to finally beat Saban.
Alabama better get Bryce Young back.
I mean, they beat Bear more often than this.
Alabama better get Bryce Young back because they did not. That was not a good showing against A&M. And A&M had a chance to win that game if it weren't for Jimbo calling just the most boring, ridiculous play to end the game, 24-20. They ran a stick routes and threw it to the
I couldn't believe that was the play.
front pylon when the Bama DB was just sitting there
What
waiting
play
for
would
it.
what play would you have called? Offense coordinator Gabe Kuhn.
Oh my gosh, I'd run something a little bit over the middle of the field and maybe probably a rub route to the outside. A rub route. They were clearly manned up there, it looked like, that close in the tight red zone. Run a rub route. See what happens. Now, if you get the offensive pass interference call, it sort of defeats the purpose.
What about
But
straight quarterback draw?
do I trust Haynes King in that moment?
You might even get somebody launching at him and get a free
Yeah.
on time down.
Yeah. I guess there was potential for that. I didn't see a whole lot of linebackers didn't quite bail, right?
And they can make up a lot of ground.
Yeah. I don't think they have the fastest linebackers they've ever had, but they would have.
Isn't that something? Because we thought they did. We thought this was vintage. I mean, league of its own Bama. It's not that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that they could win it all, and I don't know if it gets to that.
Right.
And it sure won't without Bryce Young.
Yeah, they need Bryce Young back bad. And 5 o'clock, our final guest today will be Evan Barnes to talk Tigers football from the Commercial Appeal. Where do they go from here? Where do they go? Again, I will say it as this show goes on. That was, for 3.5 quarters, the best football I saw the Tigers play. I thought the game plan was good. I thought the coaches came
52
ready.
52 minutes, I thought it was. Look here.
I thought this was.
Thought we stood justified, vindicated.
I thought that
Defenders did.
I thought that was exactly what they'd been looking for all year, but everything blew up very quickly. Evan will join us to talk about that at 5 o'clock. We'll get out. We'll talk about crunch time around 5:45. Listener line, 901-360-8255. You can also watch us live and message us on our socials, Sports56 WHPQ, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and go to our website, sports56whpq.com.
This hour of our show brought to you by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. They're at 2600 Ridgeway. It's Lexus of Memphis and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Give them a call at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2022 models, 2023 starting to roll in, and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2022 flagship LS500. You'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
So we are headed into Week 7 of college football, and Week 6 I thought was, in the end, kind of a doozy. And it sets up for what we're going to see, the biggest matchup of next week, clearly, Bama versus Tennessee. Now, A&M came close to beating Bama. 24-20, Bama ends up winning. Very interesting game, to say the least. The late game play calling from Jimbo, I don't get that. Bunch of stick routes across the board, and you throw it to the pylon where Terrion Arnold's just sitting all over it. Just was not going to give it up. Just was not going to let that happen to him. I thought that was a failure by Jimbo, but Bama looks beatable right now. Now, honestly, you got to understand Jalen Milroe playing quarterback, dealing with Bryce Young's injury. Maybe when he comes back, they start to look better offensively. But Bama has had a couple of close shaves this year, including that Texas game and against Texas A&M, while on the other hand, Tennessee thought it would be close. I truthfully did. Brett, you did not think it would be close. You thought they'd run away with this game. But Tennessee puts it on LSU 40-13. And what I took away from that game is Tennessee is truly here. Tennessee is not joking around with anybody in the SEC right now. Hendon Hooker, 239 passing yards, 2 TDs, 63 yards rushing. Jabari Small, against a pretty stout LSU defense, in my opinion, they ran the ball all over them. 127 yards for Jabari Small and 2 TDs. They're getting it how they want. Defensively, they did a good job of stuffing the run of LSU. 28 rushes for 55 yards.
Is Josh Heupel the most creative play caller in the SEC?
I think he's getting better. I didn't see this much creativity, to be honest, when he was at UCF. The run game wasn't quite as good as he's gotten it to be at Tennessee. Maybe it's the guys up front. It generally is. Maybe he's got more talent, but he has been unbelievable with his play calling. But it sets up 2:30 p.m. next Saturday, CBS, Alabama visiting Tennessee.
This is what the coffee table books are made about. Third Saturday in October
matchup. And I, for one, am very interested to see how it goes.
Friday night at Calhoun's will be right in Knoxville. And Tennessee took over Baton Rouge all over Twitter Friday night. They really did. They painted the place orange. My top story, college football and the college football playoff, I think, is as wide open as it's been since it was created. I don't think it's a classic dominant team out there. When we get to college football overreaction, I'm not going to, but I wanted to overreact with this. Nobody's any good. Well, there's a lot of teams that are good. Nobody's great. Nobody's dynastic. All seem gettable. I think there are 10 to 11 to 12 teams that could make the college football playoff Final Four. 2 to 3 to 4 that can win it all. Is Alabama in that group on meritorious service? Are they deserving of their being ranked third in AP? Last week won? I don't know. Or is it kind of body of work, institutional? It's Nick Saban. When have they really looked good this year? When's Alabama really clicked? Maybe a few times, but not many times. They'll be around at the end, but I don't know if they're as good as last year, and I don't know that Georgia's as good as last year.
So everyone stinks, basically. I'm just kidding. No, you're not saying everyone stinks, but you're saying there's not anybody out there that really has the edge over the other. We've seen the top four change a lot over the past 3 weeks. When Georgia had a good week, they moved to one. When Alabama has a good week, they moved to one. Ohio State has a good week and jumps Bama because Bama played close.
I think if we had a 16-team playoff this year, 16 could upset 1, 15 could upset 2, and no doubt 14 could upset 3.
Want to know something insane, though, too? Just looking at the AP poll. James Madison, wait, I think all these ranks are deserved. Before we get into it, James Madison ranked 25th. Illinois ranked 24th after beating Iowa 96. By the way, Iowa got to find something. I mean, I'd venture, go find an offense worse than Iowa's. I dare you. They're so bad. And Kansas ranked 19th. So Kansas, Illinois, James Madison all ranked in the top 25. How about it? That's fun.
Not top story of the day.
Not top story of the day. Matt Rule fired. Not surprising by any stretch of the imagination, but the Panthers had to move on. 11-27 in his tenure. But here's the thing. For him, he's going to have option after option after option. We saw what he could do.
Well,
what he did at
here are
Baylor.
the options: beach, ski chalet, and coaching.
But I'm talking about even in the more I'm talking about is the coaching ranks. If he wants to get hired, he can find a place to get hired. We saw what he did with Temple. We saw what he did with Baylor. He was unbelievable at
What
both.
if Oklahoma pulled the plug after 1 year with Brent Venables?
I think that
Rule.
I think that would be a little quick, but that did look bad. 49-0 against Texas is not anything that OU fans are used to. So we'll see what happens with that. I think he'll have a lot of options, but he's owed a little more than, get this, $40 million in his buyout with the Panthers. This coaching profession.
Offset if he gets another job, though, right?
I would imagine they'd come to some type of settlement in the wake of that. But $40 million. He might as well maybe go to the beach. Why not? Why do you need to jump back into the coaching?
Nice choices.
How about that?
Really good options. My not top story, Will Rogers at Mississippi State is a legitimate, serious Heisman Trophy candidate. Now the leader all time in the SEC in completions, 22 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, already over 2,100 yards. Hendon Hooker, also a viable candidate for the Heisman. 10 touchdowns passing, 0 interceptions, and 3 rushing touchdowns. One less game than Will Rogers. 1,432 yards passing, and a Heisman moment away versus Bama on the 3rd Saturday of October to maybe be the leader. This time next Monday, with that win, Tennessee would probably go to 2nd or 3rd or 4th in the polls, and he would be the leader for the Heisman because he's going to have that kind of game. If he doesn't have that kind of game, they're not going to win.
Yeah, I agree with that. State of Mississippi, though, setting a couple of records. We had the completion record, 946 for Will Rogers, and, Jonathan Mingo for Ole Miss single-game record receiving, 247 yards.
His big breakout game, and what Shedeur Sanders is doing at Jackson State. Look at the quarterback play this year in the state of Mississippi.
See the beef after the game with Alabama
I
State?
did. Now
Whose side are you on?
I'm not going to side. I'm going to let them settle that. Now, that Eddie Robinson is no relation to the famed legendary Grambling coach. That is not his son.
Yeah, but it's a junior. He's Eddie Robinson Jr.
Yeah, that's right, but no relation to that Eddie Robinson.
I believe so. But he said he ain't swag. He told Coach Prime, he ain't swag. I'm swag.
I'm on
he
his
ain't
side.
swag.
I like it.
I can see why he'd take a little bit of offense to the way Coach Prime carries himself before the game, walking on everybody's sideline, walking through the other team, and I get that.
What did y'all think he was going to do?
No, I'm not saying. I
What y'all think he
Oh,
was
that's a
going
good
to
point.
I could
get
see,
out of my
but-
drills
but-
before the game.
I mean, do you think he was going to be, some
No.
buttoned up,
Coach-
Duffy Daugherty?
Deion is
Fair
Deion.
point.
Coach Prime is Coach Prime, but I
Yeah.
can see why Eddie Robinson Jr. got angry.
Would you want him any differently? I mean, that's what he
That's
brings.
who he is.
No,
That's
I
who
would
he
not.
is.
That's who he is.
I mean, you're not going to get Raleigh Massimino out of him.
That'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Now, attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for the 28th year of NFL action with the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of 200%. BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including their coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity, and you need to know that you're going to get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today, 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention promo code Sports56Radio. Again, that's promo code Sports56Radio. You can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins. We get to our first break, and when we come back, we talk with tight end from the University of Memphis. He was quarterback turned tight end. Caden Prieskorn's next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Spencer here with ATC Fitness. There's no better time of the year than now. Football and fitness go hand in hand in the fall. And with individual screens on each piece of cardio and multiple big screens throughout the rest of the club, you'll never miss a bit of the action watching your favorite team. ATC Fitness continues to be the Mid-South's choice for fitness, family-owned for 30 years, and proud supporters of Coach Silverfield and the Memphis Tigers. Join online at atcfitness.com. ATC Fitness, exercise your right to look good.
So many people here are getting real lasting joint pain relief from QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics has changed my life.
I would recommend QC to anybody.
The work that QC Kinetics did paid off exponentially.
It brought me back to an effective age of almost in my 20s and 30s.
QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge regenerative medicine, natural biologics from your own body, precision treatments that can restore and repair damaged tissue in your aching joints, with no meds, no steroids, no drugs, and no downtime.
I got a very quick resolution to my pain.
It is a all-natural therapy. You're using you to fix you.
I got my life back. I got my smile back. And best of all, I got my laugh back.
Don't live with that pain anymore. And don't let them tell you surgery is your only option. Learn more about regenerative options from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. Call now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. It's a big AFC West battle to wrap up Week 5 when Patrick Mahomes and the 3-1 Kansas City Chiefs take on Derek Carr and the 1-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and I will bring you all the action from Rockin' Arrowhead in Kansas City. Join us on Monday Night Football.
right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after a mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries. We also have battery solutions for many hybrid and electric vehicles. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Yeah. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
Open the door, sit in the seat, turn the key, and go.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brent Norsworthy.
Back rolling on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats, and it's time to bring on our Tiger player. We do it every single Monday. If you want to find all of the ones from the past, sports56whbq.com, click on featured audio. But joining us this week is Caden Priestcorn, tight end for the Tigers, 6'5", 255 junior. You can find him on Twitter at CPKorn. That's CPKORN 12. And that's where you can find him on Twitter.com. Caden, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing well. Now, I know it's a tough way to end on Friday. What has been the messaging? How have you guys sort of responded since then? Has it been fine? Have you been able to sort of put it to the side? Now it's all work this week to go forward and play against ECU.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough loss, especially losing that way. But we know we got to bounce back, and we still can control. Because we still want to try to get the conference championship. If we're still just going to try to win out and see what happens.
Right.
Caden, you may be my new favorite player because it's easy to talk after a win. It's easy. Your teammates have been with us after the last 4 straight wins. We even had a guest after the loss at State. It's always easier to talk after a loss, after a win than a loss. But it takes somebody of high character and your program and your sports information office to still help us out after maybe one of the most excruciating losses ever. But you do have to put it behind you. You got 2 straight on the road, starting with East Carolina. But I want to start with you and your height and weight, as Gabe described when he brought you on, 6'5", 240, 245. I told Gabe during the break, there's a guy making a lot of money for the Buffalo Bills that was a high school quarterback that's now a tight end. You got to be watching Dawson Knox and thinking, that could be me.
Yeah, I definitely the tight end position has changed a lot. Like a lot of them didn't play tight end in high school. A lot of them were like receivers, quarterbacks. Like Travis Kelce was a quarterback too, and even like you said, Dawson Knox. He played at Ole Miss. He was a quarterback. Yeah, seeing those guys do it definitely gives me confidence in myself. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, obviously great ball skills, great footwork. You didn't let a coach make you into a defensive end. That's a great move, Caden.
Yeah, I've always been an offensive player, so I wanted to stay on the offensive side of the ball.
What was the biggest transition for you? Because I mean, going from quarterback, not a whole lot of physicality, throwing blocks. Now you're asked to do a lot of inline stuff, blocking. You pull, you get out on the edge. You do. What was sort of the biggest transition for you going from quarterback to tight end?
Definitely the biggest change was probably blocking, like you just said. Like I've never really played defense. I've always just strictly played quarterback my whole life. I've never played defense, put my hand in the dirt. So like that was probably the biggest adjustment, is like the physicality, like, and especially my body changing over the years, like how much weight I had to gain to play this position. So that's been the biggest challenge so far.
They found a way to put that weight on though. How'd they do it? They just sort of force feed you?
Yeah, they made me eat a bunch, 3 meals a day.
Right.
The strength staff did.
Only three? Only three?
How
That's
often?
it?
Three. Well, with a bunch of snacks, a lot of protein shakes.
Right.
How
like
often do
big
they
meals.
make you? Do they make you weigh in?
Yeah, we weigh in about like 3 times a week, so they made sure my weight kept going up.
No question about it. And you got there. So what this year, and I know you've had to deal with some nagging pains, hurts, injuries here and there since you've got to the University of Memphis. What's been the biggest change for you? Because this year is sort of, and obviously I'm terming it this. You don't have to term it that. It's your pseudo breakout year. You've done a good job in the red zone.
No
You've
doubt.
caught some touchdown passes. You've been a safety blanket for Seth in a lot of ways. What's been the biggest difference year to year in where you are right now as opposed to where you have been since you've been at the University of Memphis?
I feel like this year, like my confidence has grown, like throughout the other years. Like I came as a freshman, walked down, whatever. But then, like I had like my body had to change, so I just kept getting confidence. Like last 3 years, like my redshirt freshman year, I played like maybe two games.
Right.
Then last year, I was like Sean's backup, so like seeing him and like seeing what he did, and just like watching what he did, and like just building confidence behind him. And doing what I could to be on the field. Like this year, I knew it had to be try to make it my year. And like I just knew I had to like step up.
Right.
Confidence has definitely been the biggest thing for me.
For sure. And it's funny. I obviously I had, when I got to the University of Memphis, I was 259 pounds, got up to 320 at one point, 310. I had to play guard, had to play tackle, had to play everything across the O-line, and the confidence was big. How much was it for you gaining that weight, getting bigger, and understanding how to use that weight? Like, did it feel awkward at first to gain that amount of weight and try to transition it to the field?
Yeah, it definitely felt awkward at first. I felt like I was eating way too much.
Right.
Like it really was. But it's like I use the word confidence a lot, and it's like I feel like that's the biggest thing like a football player needs is just like confidence. And that's really the biggest thing is like I'm just getting confidence like with my weight, with my size, and like knowing how big I am. Like
right.
And when you're asked to stay in and block, guess what? You get the tough assignment. You get one of these edge guys that are just freakish athletes. How hard has that transition been?
Oh, it's been really hard, especially like the amount of reps I needed to throughout like the last 3-4 years. Like I used to like after every practice I'd go hit the sled, like which is like a blocking sled, about 20-25 times after every practice. So
right.
I really just feel like I need the reps, and I need the reps over the last few years. I just gotten more and more, and it just helped me grow.
Now, how about the fun stuff, catching the ball? You and Seth have a synergy about you.
Sure
And there's no question about it. You see it, and it's grown as the season's gone on. How much went into that in the offseason? Did you sort of know going into the year that you and Seth were going to have that type of connection?
I feel like me and him did, but we definitely like after every workouts throughout the week, or like on Saturday in the off season, we probably threw every weekend. Together, so we just gain connection that way, and even outside of football, hanging out, like doing stuff, playing golf or something like that. We just built a connection in this last 6-7 months. It's shown during the season so far.
I know there's not a huddle anymore, but when you go after possession's over, every wide receiver says to the quarterback or to the coaches, "I'm open every down." You are open. The tight end, you have been open almost every time, and you're the safety valve. It's kind of you take the pressure off of Seth, and around football, it feels like the tight end's open because you're probably the biggest guy with a combination of speed out on the field, and those safeties can't launch against you.
Yeah, definitely, but I'm more to myself and just
right
do what I'm asked of. But the tight end is definitely used more a lot in football.
No question.
Especially it's used a lot here in our offense.
Gronk's the patron saint of all tight ends.
Shout out, yeah. Shout out Gronk. Shout out Dawson Knox. Now, what do you do off the field? What are your hobbies?
I really don't do that much. I have a son, Mac. So I'm either watching him or doing schoolwork. Or just, I love watching football.
Mm-hmm.
Any game, I'll probably watch the game tonight. Any football that's on, I'm watching.
What are a couple of the tight ends in the NFL that you watch? We mentioned Dawson Knox, but there's so many good ones. What are some you really like to watch? And you got a good one tonight for the Raiders.
I like both the tight ends tonight, Waller and Kelsey. But I like watching. I'm a Lions fan, so I like watching T.J. Hawkins.
Shout out, yep, that's a good one. That's a good.
I like Dawson Knox too, former quarterback. So I like.
I
like those four.
So do you like? So when you watch a tight end, and obviously you do a lot of inline blocking, do you sort of more relate to the guys that do both, the George Kittles of the world, or do you enjoy watching and like the Travis Kelce's that are generally out in the slot, split out, aren't asked to do a whole bunch in line as far as blocking is concerned?
I like watching both, but I like Kelsey a lot because like how they use him like in the flat,
right?
Like how he gets on the perimeter and blocks, but they're definitely both. That's why they're the best to get paid the most in what they do.
Yeah. So you mentioned golf earlier in this conversation with Seth, and playing with Seth, and we talked to Joe Doyle a couple weeks ago, and I guess the specialists get together every Sunday and have a golf outing. How often do you golf, and where do you golf at around here?
I golf in the summer. I probably golf like 2 to 3 times a week. We just usually go to Audubon or Galloway.
Yeah, right.
But I really haven't. During the season, it's been a lot harder because how busy we are. But I definitely try to get out there, or sometimes I'll just go to one of these ranges and just hit.
Right.
Do you have to give Seth strokes?
Yeah, I do. He's not that good.
Wait, did you must have grown up golfing a lot, huh?
Yeah, I did. I grew up on a golf. My family grew up on a golf course, so I played basically my whole life.
Okay, rock on. So you're from Michigan, correct? Originally.
Yes, sir.
So how's the South to you? Do you enjoy it? Obviously, even for me, I'm from St. Louis. I'm from 4 hours up the road, and when I came to the University of Memphis, it was different. It's more Southern. Like you're not used to the culture quite as much. How much of you was it a culture shock? How'd you feel when you got here?
Do you laugh when we have a threat of a snow flurry and the interstate shut down?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the ice storms. Yeah.
I do when it's like an inch of snow and nobody wants to drive. It is funny, but yeah, that was a big thing, and even like the heat down here, like in the summer.
Oh, it's different.
It's real.
It's
different. It's unreal.
Well, it's that humidity, Caden. It takes it out of you.
It's no joke.
But Caden, I've said up north, I think y'all are tougher than us to set out at sports in that snow and cold. It doesn't bother you at all, but we do kind of make up for it, like out at the golf tournament here, like out at the FESJC, and in that humidity.
Yeah, definitely. It's the heat here, but yeah, I feel like we're a little tougher because we're up in the playoff games up north. We're in the snow almost all the time.
So you said you were a Lions fan, right? As far as NFL allegiances were concerned. Yeah. So you've been in a dome. So if you went to go watch the Lions, you're domed up, so you don't have to worry about all that weather, which is somewhat nice. Although Lions, from a success standpoint, it hasn't been all that great, I guess, through your childhood.
Had a tough one yesterday. No. Have you ever been to a Lions game on Thanksgiving Day?
I have not, but I've been to a Lions game before.
That looks fun.
Yeah,
that's the one day a year everybody's got the Lions on their mind.
That's fine. That is definitely the only day of the year.
No, we'll let you go, Caden. Appreciate you joining us. It was great stuff, and good luck next weekend.
Good luck next week. Keep that chin up. It was a tough loss, but there's a lot of football left. Thank you, Caden. We appreciate you talking to us.
Yes, sir. Good talking to y'all. I'll see y'all.
You got it. We will. We'll see you down the line. Caden Prescorn, Tigers tight end, and that says a lot about Ryan Silverfield's program, and thank you to that Sports Information Office. It's easy to come on after a win.
Yeah.
It's easy to catch up and have the happy talk, to stand up and talk after not just any old loss.
Yes, not just. It was brutal, and it's still on the guys' minds in a lot of ways, and they're trying to move forward. But definitely says a lot about that program.
At Jason's Deli, you can get it to drive. You can drive in, to go, or delivery. Wholesome food forever. It's a family thing. At Jason's Deli, at all these locations like Park Place, Olive Branch, Poplar and Highland, and Cordova, the commitment to variety, value, and quality ingredients means you can feel great about choosing Jason's Deli for all 3 meals. You got it, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They've got it all. And if you're in any of those locations, you can wrap it up with the complimentary free ice cream. It's also healthy. First franchise in the nation to be trans fat free, and it's all about choice. Whether you seek a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, or healthy kids meals, or if you'd like to invent your own sandwich via the Build Your Own selection, you'll be delighted at Jason's Deli. All the salads, like the chicken club salad, the chicken Caesar salad. I love the taco salad. Plenty of organic food to choose from, and that great salad bar, over 30 items to choose from there. You prepare it however you like, catering anytime, anywhere from Jason's Deli. I mentioned the complimentary ice cream you can get at Ridgeway Road, Poplar and Highland, Olive Branch, and Cordova. And the soup season, it is here. The fire-roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil. It's soup season any time of year, but with a little cooler weather. So good. Bowls, cups, the broccoli cheese, so very good. And my favorite, the chili, beanless, Texas-style chili, all at Jason's Deli. Check them out online as well at jasonsdeli.com.
Now, it's certainly hard to discuss for the Tigers where they're at after a loss like that and just how brutal it was, just basically having defeat sort of taken out of the jaws of victory. It's very, very tough to talk about, but everything's ahead of the Tigers. When you look at the AAC, what transpired this week, we'll talk about why that is the case. Everything ahead of them on the other side, right here on Sportstime with Gabe and Stats.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know that 117 Prime is Memphis's premier downtown dining destination, and you probably know that Prime prides itself on its wine selection. Well, now you can add award-winning wine selection. 117 Prime was recently given the Award of Excellence from Wine Spectator magazine, the most respected publication in the business. The Wine Spectator Restaurant Award celebrates the world's best restaurants for wine. So now, not only can you say that your dinner at 117 Prime was world-class, you can back it up with the Wine Spectator's opinion.
Hey sports fans, this is Ultimate Vegas Insider John Anthony, and I'm on fire. To prove it, I'm releasing your Monday Night Report free on a recorded message line. Call 1-800-244-5506. I love tonight's matchup. Las Vegas, Kansas City, side and total. Las Vegas, Kansas City, critical information confirmed. Plus Thursday, Washington, Chicago, and Saturday's early releases. 5 big plays, John Anthony has you covered. I love to go 5-0 free on the recorded message line. 1-800-244-5506. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. Las Vegas, Kansas City is a monster. Call 1-800-244-5506. You want information? I've got it. I love to go 5-0 over the season free. Call the recorded message line, 1-800-244-5506. That's 1-800-244-5506. Or go to johnanthonysports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
If you want to make money in sales, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. If you can sell, Flynn Broadcasting has a great career waiting for you. If you can sell, we have great benefits, salary, commissions, sales leads, and a great place to work. Can everyone sell? No. But if you can, Flynn Broadcasting wants you. Apply today at jobs@flinn.com. Start your career today at jobs@flynn.com. Flynn Broadcasting wants you.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis.
What we are dealing with here is a perfect machine. It's really a miracle of evolution.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back in on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Got a text here from 901 Steve saying some of my favorite Tigers have been tight ends, especially lately. Alan Cross, Joey Magnifico, Sean Dykes, now Priestcorn.
That's a good list.
They've been
Way
doing
to go, Steve.
done a good job. And out of, let's see, 3 of 4 walk-ons. That's a wild stat.
The rules beg for you to throw to the tight end. You can't launch. You can't touch them off the line of scrimmage. They're bigger than everyone. They're faster than anybody with the equivalent size.
Mm-hmm. But 3 or 4 of those walk-ons, that's a hell of
They're always open between the hash marks, right down the middle of the field.
Yep.
Always.
Well, and they get the better matchups. If they're athletic, especially the way Sean Dykes was, they can beat those linebackers and safeties consistently. I didn't
want to give away anything.
But
I feel a double pass in the offing the rest of the year from Caden Priestcorn.
Maybe. Well, did you see the one Gabe Rogers threw? That should have been the highlight of the year if they would
That
have
was
held on to
punt,
win.
passing, kick contest extraordinary.
If they would have held on to win that game, that should be the highlight of the year.
That was easy.
The placement was ridiculous. To a running back in the end zone.
At that point,
what?
At that point, that
unheard of, and it was off schedule.
The Ryan Silverfield high water mark of enthusiasm for that program after that. I mean, you thought at some point it might be named to score against Houston. Got off to the fast start, and then
just
the most disappointing loss in a long time.
Here's the thing: when you look at the AAC standings, the American Athletic Conference standings, having that win would have been awesome.
House
3-0 in conference, 5-1 overall. You'd have been at the top with Cincinnati and Tulane, but now that one loss puts you in a precarious situation. You can't afford to, if you want to be a championship team, you can't afford to lose anything the rest of the way, truth be told. And you're going to have a lot of games ahead of you where you could pass teams. You could pass Tulane, you could pass UCF and give them their first loss, but you have to go do that. And in Tulane's case, the way they've been playing, just got off a win against ECU that I thought ECU would be able to cover, 24-9, just dominated them from start to finish. It's going to be easier said than done, though, against those teams ahead of you that you're going to have here in the next 3 weeks.
I think it's Cincinnati. But if it's not Cincinnati, Tulane, the story of the year in the AAC?
I'd say so. Isn't that wild, though? Their only loss of the year comes against Southern Miss.
Handed that away.
Of all people. Also in the AAC this week, we thought that we'd see some signs of life out of Temple. I am amazed by what occurred this weekend in Annapolis. Navy now is 2-1 in conference, tied with the Tigers because they've won games and they beat Tulsa within an inch of their life, 53-21, and Tulsa 2-4 now, and at the bottom of the conference.
They get 53 on Tulsa. Ole Miss didn't score on Tulsa in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. But Navy, I don't know what it is. Maybe they're better than we originally thought. The win over East Carolina in double OT, 23-20, then the win over Tulsa has you thinking a lot different about where that team's at.
They've got some wins in front of them. I think they can beat Temple.
I thought this was going to be one of the toughest stretches of the season for them.
All right, my only poll attack of the day.
Gone crazy.
Who's voting for Notre Dame at the AP poll?
Oh, wait for my overreaction, Brett. Wait for it.
Did I inspire you?
Oh, maybe.
Hold on, they beat BYU.
I know they've lost twice too.
Yeah, but they've won 3 in a row, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at.
I feel like you're really close to saying, and they're Notre Dame.
They're Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Come on.
Who voted for Notre Dame?
Plenty of people, I would imagine, right?
It's not just others receiving votes.
It's 58 votes, right? I mean, it's not like who voted for it. It's a lot of people.
Who are y'all?
But it's Notre Dame.
Show yourself.
Any opportunity they have to put them back into the rankings.
Texas justified getting their votes.
49-0 over Oklahoma in the Cotton Bowl. That'll do it for me. I'm okay with that. And Quinn Ewers returning was huge. If
he stayed healthy against Bama, they win the game.
Are they 4-2 the way they are right now? if he stays healthy. Losing to Texas Tech. Do they lose to Texas Tech if he's playing in that game? Probably not.
That was before Bama, though, wasn't it?
No, it was after.
Oh, was it?
It was after.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Quinn Ewers makes all the difference for them. Also, the American Athletic Conference. Cincinnati played close with South Florida. I don't know what it is about South Florida. Jeff Scott's not going to save his job. In fact, I have been hearing that he's going to be out the past 3 weeks, basically.
Things are going down.
But 28-24, they've played close with Florida and Cincinnati, both on the road. I guess they get up for certain games and sort of lay flat for others.
At Louisville was one of the flat ones.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And that was kind of a thin week this week in the American Athletic Conference. Had that Wednesday,
this was
had a Friday game, only
week
3
of the
games
year for college football so far. This weekend was not a 10, was it?
The end of but there were certain things sort of watching them, people emerging, like watching Tennessee emerge.
Yeah.
The end of Bama A&M. I thought Oklahoma State Texas Tech was a good game. It's sort of a sleeper game if you watched it. There were some on the board that did impress me though. I'm not gonna. In the first half were you scared? First half, Vandy Ole Miss. Was there any?
Nope.
Any thoughts?
I've seen it too many times up there.
Okay.
I knew that it would probably be like that.
Yeah. Vanderbilt's just better though too. The credit where credit's due. Vanderbilt is a better football team.
I think Clark Lee's got a plan.
Now, are they the best program in the country, like you said in preseason? No, but hey,
a little much.
They're playing better football.
But from down at one point, Ole Miss outscored Vandy 42-8.
And one of the best games of the weekend ended up being the one that I could not stop talking about as far as your bingo card was concerned. TCU and Kansas at Kansas as a top 20 matchup. 38-31, TCU pulled that out at the end. Max Duggan looks like a legitimate. I have not seen him play quarterback at this high of a level to this point in his career, and he looks fantastic. Kansas's backup looked good in that game for most of it. What's it, Jason Bean? Somehow figured that one out. But let's go ahead and get to a break right here. When we come back, it'll be hour number 2. We're going to get to our SEC recap. We have our reactions and who won the weekend in college football and NFL. Coming up next, though, bring on our guy from CBS Sports, David Cobb.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
You need concrete coatings, materials, and supplies in Memphis fast, and you get this answer? Oh yeah, we got that stuff, I think, but it's in Wisconsin, so you're going to have to wait a few days for delivery. Why wait? Get your concrete coating and supplies now at TSS Supply. Everything that you need for coating concrete at TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road. And you're not dealing with just any supply store. TSS Supply specializes only in concrete coatings, materials, and supplies, all in one place. Most products are delivered same day or within 24 hours. Looking for a particular item, you need large quantities, or just have general questions? Call them at 901-729-0565, 729-0565, or you can email your question to Brad at tsssupply.com. All month in October, TSS Supply is celebrating its grand opening with 10% off your first order. TSS Supply, 5665 East Rains Road.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Rich Eisen from Monday Night Football on Westwood One here. AFC West action coming up from Kansas City when Patrick Mahomes and the 3-1 Chiefs host Derek Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders coming off their first win of the season. Kevin Harlan and Hall of Famer Kurt Warner will have the call on air or on the free live stream sponsored by AutoZone. Join us on Monday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
O'Reilly Auto Parts specializes in keeping your car on the road. Not sure how much life is left in your battery? Our professional parts people will test it for free. If it does need to be replaced, we'll help you find just the right one to fit your car. Our Superstar batteries are built to handle even the toughest conditions. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you 24/7, with supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model, and if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Hour 2 is here on a Monday Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe, he's Stats. Brian Dacus in the Family Studios with us, and he's producing the program. Joining us via the phone line, though, is our guy from CBS Sports, David Cobb, at David W. Cobb on Twitter. David, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I was actually just texting your brother. I went over to Iowa City today, and I ate at one of Todd Brommelkamp's favorite spots. And
Mulligan's? What's it called?
Oh, shoot.
Is that?
Yes, something like that.
Mulligan's?
I don't know. I just ate there, and I already forgot the name.
Look at you, David Cobb. You're Mr. Midwestern.
Well, doesn't he have he has something named after him at that restaurant, right?
Okay.
Or am I mistaken?
No. You're like it's like a thing for sure.
The Brommelkamp.
He's like a.
Is that right?
Yeah. I didn't get that, but it was good. We drove by Kinnick Stadium. Not a lot going on there. Certainly didn't see any offense.
Their offense is offensive. It's very offensive.
It is.
Yeah.
The story of Niall Kinnick is great, though, David.
Yes, it is. And that stadium is on a game day or night is fantastic. It is a good venue.
It is a nice stadium. Yeah, when you're on a certain corner, you can see the Children's Hospital, the water tower. There's some old historic building in the background. I can see the allure of it. It's nice, and I learned a little bit of history too with the Kinnick being the Heisman winner. I think it was 1938 or something like that. So
decorated World War II hero, died in valor for our country during World War II. I don't know that the Big Ten still does it, David, but for a long time, the pregame coin for Big Ten games, one side of it was an homage to Niall Kinnick.
Yeah, and I didn't know any of that stuff. So even though not getting to go on a game day, I still learned something.
Heck yeah.
And enjoyed it. It's a beautiful day up here. So yeah, not much beautiful football being played in the Big Ten West. But the SEC West has been pretty good.
I got to bring up Big Ten West because we do have 3 ranked teams that I'm amazed with this week. James Madison is ranked, and they're obviously not all from the Big Ten West. I'll get to the Big Ten West team here in a second. Kansas at 19 and Illinois at 24. I never thought that any of those 3 teams would be ranked in the top 25, much less all 3. But Illinois beat Iowa at their own game 9-6. Brett Bielema, is he a guy we need to turn to and sort of give him his credit for his job and what he's done so far this year?
Yeah, he's turned Illinois into what Wisconsin used to be. And I think the fact that Illinois went up there and beat Wisconsin with Bielema as their coach is probably part of the reason why Wisconsin made a coaching change when they did, moving on from Paul Chryst, because it's kind of embarrassing when the old coach comes to town with a lesser program and really beats you at what your identity is supposed to be. I mean, that Illinois team, they don't pass the football. They'll certainly not be passing it now that it looks like Tommy DeVito is hurt. But they've got a phenomenal run game and a phenomenal defense, and that's vintage Bielema. And it's an impressive job that he's done to turn things around so quickly, because, look, when he got that Illinois job, it seemed like the right job for him, and because we weren't sure if he was still really the type of coach who could get it done. It didn't go all that well at Arkansas for him. And it certainly didn't end well. And so, the jury was out on whether Bielema still had it. And very clearly he still does. I mean, Illinois deserved to be ranked this week, and they probably deserved to be ranked last week as well. It's just sometimes it takes the country a while to come around on some of these lesser brands and realize that, hey, they're actually pretty good.
David, the only team Brett Bielema could beat consistently when he was at Arkansas in the SEC was Hugh Freeze and Ole Miss.
Wow. Yeah, it's amazing how things change, and now here he is atop the Big Ten West. And and Arkansas is in a better position too now. But I guess it goes to show that sometimes certain coaches work in certain places and in certain regions and not in others. Because clearly Brett Bielema knows how to coach in the Big Ten West, but the SEC West was a different animal for him.
I'm not talking about job security whatsoever, not even close to it, but just the honeymoon phase for Sam Pittman. Has that ended?
Yeah, I think so. I think anytime you...
And they all do. Nobody stays on one forever, literally and figuratively.
Right. Yeah, it's just been a bad run of injuries for Arkansas this year. And only the elite of the elite can withstand that type of carnage, so to speak, on the injury front. And we're seeing a couple of them do it right now. Ohio State, it seems like every Saturday they're without, pick 2 or 3 all-American caliber offensive skill players, be it running backs missing time. Jackson Smith and Jigba has hardly played at wide receiver this year. They've had several other receivers miss games, and they just soldier on and don't miss a beat. And then Alabama, we see, even with a backup quarterback who commits 3 turnovers by himself, they still manage to win a game. Those are the teams that can withstand the types of injuries that Arkansas has had. And Arkansas is just not in a position with the depth at this point in Sam Pittman's tenure, being year 3, to really withstand all those injuries. So they're still a bowl team this year. They're still, I don't know, they still got that fight in them from what I can tell, but it's not been pretty. And I think a lot of that is due to the injuries. And that does bring the honeymoon phase to an end, even if it's not necessarily Sam Pittman's fault.
And you look on the other side of that game this weekend, and obviously Mississippi State just had their way. I mean, start to finish. And we sort of knew Arkansas secondary was bad. It's banged up, and that Will Rogers would have his way. But sets the record for completions in the SEC this weekend. How good is this Mississippi State team? Because from my vantage point, and I know that State fans, Barrett Jones was making fun of me last week for saying if it weren't for that fourth quarter of the LSU game, they'd be undefeated. But it really is the truth. This State team has lived past. I think they've surpassed sort of what their preseason expectations were going to be already.
Yeah, they have it. They were fortunate to play Arkansas without KJ Jefferson. They knocked Texas A&M's quarterback out in the second half, Max Johnson, when they played a couple weeks ago. So they've been kind of on the good end of the luck spectrum. But they're validating what I thought they could be in the preseason. A lot of it is due to their defense. The Mike Leach offense, eventually it'll get to a certain level, and Will Rogers is the right guy to execute that system. But what sets a Mike Leach team apart from your kind of normal 7-5, 8-4 type of team is if it can play defense as well. And this Mississippi State team, they can play defense, man. They really can. Zach Arnett, I think, is one of the more underrated defensive coordinators in the country. And when you can do it both, it makes you a really tough team to beat. I mean, I don't see a team really on their schedule who I even with Alabama and Georgia being on it, that I look at and say, wow, Mississippi State won't have a chance against them. I think they'll have a chance against everybody the rest of the way, unless they just get something crazy with injuries as well. But the defense, man, it is stingy. Every time you flip to a Mississippi State game, they are swarming to the football or tackling somebody in the backfield, and that's what stands out to me about what they do.
So yeah, that absolutely is. But Zach Arnett, it's weird. Like usually you hear names surface. He's a young guy. I understand that he's a defensive coordinator, and maybe that's not the fad these days. But 36 years old, did a good job at San Diego State when he was there. Has done an awesome job at Mississippi State of keeping that defense afloat and bringing in guys the whole 9 yards. Do you think he'll come up for any type of head coaching vacancies relatively soon?
He could. It kind of depends on how the other defensive coordinators do. Like, we're in this weird sort of phase right now in college football where it seemed like it was going all offense there for a minute with LSU, Alabama, back-to-back national champions, airing it out, setting records, Heisman Trophy winners, et cetera, et cetera. Now, last year, Georgia went and flipped the script and showed that defense can still be your ticket to the top. Michigan and Clemson, teams that are nationally relevant, and showing that you can reach the playoff with defensive-oriented teams. So it sort of feels like the defensive coordinator is coming back in vogue, and I'll tell you who is sneakily sort of furthering that idea right now. It's Dan Lanning.
Yep.
Because everybody might have written off Oregon after they got just obliterated by Georgia in week 1, but ever since then, Oregon has been quietly one of the best teams in the country. And if you can pluck a defensive coordinator out of the SEC, make him a first-time head coach, and he wins a power conference in his first year, that's going to make a guy like Zach Arnett all the more attractive for head coaching vacancies this cycle.
David, this week you know it well. You went to school there. You also covered the Tennessee Vols for the Knoxville News-Sentinel. This week will be the third Saturday in October, Rocky Top style, Neyland Stadium style vintage. It'll be like it should be. And isn't that what Tennessee wanted in these desperate coaching moves, and to finally land on Josh Heupel to be relevant, to be viable?
Yeah, it's a moment of relevance for the program. The fact that they've got College Game Day coming to campus for the second time halfway through the season is kind of unfathomable. And they did have a top 10 home game with Alabama back in 2016 in Butch Jones's fourth season, but at that time they were coming off of a close loss to Texas A&M, and they just got obliterated by Alabama at home. And that was sort of the end of the idea that Butch Jones could ever lead them back to any sort of national prominence. So this is a big moment for Josh Heupel. He's in a better position than that 2016 team was, because this Tennessee team is not lost yet. And this Tennessee team has a really electric offense with a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate at quarterback in Hendon Hooker. So I think most people expect this to be a close game. And if Bryce Young can't go for Alabama, I think you're going to see a lot of people pick Tennessee to win the game straight up. And if they do, it will be a scene unlike anything that has happened in Knoxville since 1998, when they rushed the field and they tore down the goalposts after beating Florida on the way to their national title. That's the comparison that would be apt if Tennessee somehow beat Alabama at home this week. And I think it's possible. I mean, this Alabama team, Texas A&M game aside, has shown some warts. They've been penalized more. They've turned the ball over more. They've struggled with the basics more than what we're used to seeing from a Nick Saban team. So I think just so much of this game is going to ride on the health and the status of Bryce Young.
And I think I've talked to you about this, definitely have talked to Brett about this. I had my questions about Josh Heupel taking over at Tennessee and what I saw from him at UCF. It didn't have a whole lot of emphasis on defense. Didn't really run the ball as well as I thought he should have at times. Wasn't as balanced. But so far, watching his play calling and the way this offense operates, it is as balanced as possible. They're running the ball at a high level. They're physical up front when they need to be. And those receivers, like I had my questions about Brew McCoy and if he'd be able to fit, but this weekend, 7 catches, 140 yards. Everything about that offense is clicking. It's unpredictable. And it's been impressive to watch what Josh Heupel dials up every Saturday.
Yeah, it has, because the receivers, Brew McCoy, the transfer from USC, former 5-star guy, the talent was never a question with him. It was just whether or not he could sort of...
Can he stay on campus long enough?
Right. And could he get eligible and all that? So he's worked out. They hit there. And then the other guys that really shine, Cedric Tillman, he's a big injury status to keep an eye on for this week, because he was out. He's been out the last couple games. He had an ankle surgery after week 3. He'll be one to keep an eye on. And he is the perfect example, I think, of what Tennessee's offense can do, because he had something in the neighborhood of 15 career catches over 3 seasons before Heupel came. Well, last year in Heupel's system, he goes for over 1,000 yards. Mm-hmm. As an overlooked former 3-star prospect who had done very little in his career to that point, you get in that system and all of a sudden you become an NFL prospect. And so I think that offensive system has just been everything that Tennessee needed because of the status of the program when Heupel inherited it. They just needed excitement. They needed to sell tickets. They needed to make people care about football again, as crazy as that sounds, at Tennessee. And they've been able to do that because the offense has clicked faster than anyone would have expected. And I got to say that the Hendon Hooker thing, that's actually not attributable to Josh Heupel. He signed before Heupel accepted the job. So he essentially signed in that no man's time between Jeremy Pruitt and Josh Heupel. And you can't look at that as anything other than fate on Tennessee's behalf.
David, UT deserves some luck.
But the other thing, and I know it's an overused talking point, like it really is, but Virginia Tech fans have to see what Hendon Hooker's doing. And how do you react to that? I mean, how can you keep a sane mind seeing where their program has gone since Hendon Hooker's been in that orange?
And it's that driven, the game's that driven by quarterback play.
Yes, it's amazing, and you wonder, maybe just Justin Fuente just didn't have the right system for him. Maybe this is just a better system, because obviously Justin Fuente, if you go and look at what he did at Memphis, he knows how to coach quarterback. And look, maybe he just had some really nice offensive guards on those teams too.
Oh, great call. Yeah, absolutely. You're correct on that.
That was definitely it.
I know. But the Tennessee thing is it's fun. It's special. Look, even if they lose to Alabama, they're still ahead of schedule based on where you thought they would be in year 2, given how terrible things were when he walked in. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to see them kind of be back, even if it's just ends up being for a moment.
David, counting week 0, 7 weeks down, 7 to go. We're at the halfway point of regular season. Then we have the conference championship games in the SEC. I was throwing it at Gabe earlier before we came on. There are a lot of different scenarios for an SEC championship game. There's even this scenario out there for the SEC. Follow along with me, okay? Mm-hmm. Bama beats Tennessee. Is that right? No, let me get this. Yeah, that's right. Bama beat – no. Tennessee beats Bama. Tennessee beats Bama. Georgia beats Tennessee. Bama wins out. Bama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game. Mm-hmm. 3 from the SEC in the college football 4.
I think it could happen, and that, look, Gabe is just trying not to accuse us of being SEC homers right now. But
I plead guilty.
Everything has to break right. I love Brett's week 5, week 6 scenarios. They're the greatest things I've ever heard.
They're out there to happen. An Ole Miss Tennessee SEC championship game with the Egg Bowl punching the ticket could happen.
It's fun to daydream and to fathom. At the end of the day, it's probably going to be Georgia, Alabama in the SEC title game.
It will be.
But the hype, the possibility maybe of a one-loss team, that one-loss team, we're talking about it as if it could likely be Tennessee. It could also be Ole Miss. That's that's also within the realm of possibility as well. So would a one-loss SEC team that does not play in the SEC championship game reach the playoff? And the answer is it depends what happens elsewhere. But absolutely, because I think a one-loss SEC team not playing in the title game would have a much better case than Texas A&M did back during the COVID year.
I think it will be Bama against Georgia, but it doesn't feel like the certainty leaving the College Football Hall of Fame at SEC Media Days did.
No, it doesn't. And each of those teams have shown their warts. In fact, I will refute my status as an SEC homer here and say I actually have Ohio State ranked number 1 right now.
I think that's fair.
I do too.
Sports
I
130.
think that's correct, really.
They've been the most dominant team in the country. They've been more consistent than Alabama and
Michigan
Georgia.
might be too.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. I mean, they haven't hardly played anyone, but they've just sort of just walk through everyone.
Well, who's Alabama really played, David?
Well, I mean, now people are wanting to crown Texas after what Texas did to Oklahoma the other day. So, I mean, heck, maybe them going on the road and beating Texas is something. I don't know. I'm not ready to go there yet with Texas, but that win is starting to look better at least.
The scenario that I'm looking for as far as college football playoff is concerned, USC's been impressing me lately. And watching them, what they did against Cam Ward, and people probably don't know who Cam Ward is, came from Incarnate Word, one of the biggest quarterback transfers we saw. But Washington State's a decent team, beat Wisconsin earlier in the year. But that defense is standing up and like looking like a legitimate top 10, top 5, top 4 defense in the country. To see them hold that Washington State team to 0 and sort of win running away the way they did, and we know their offense is fantastic. I think SC's playoff hopes are very alive and very well.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a doubter. I think USC is a little bit fraudulent. I just don't think the offense is quite as elite as we expected it to be. And you're right about the defense. The defense has been better, and the defense is masking some of the offensive issues for USC right now, but there's a reason they're an underdog on the road against a 2-loss Utah team this week, and it's because the offense has been inconsistent. Caleb Williams is running for his life half the time, and so against a Utah defense that hasn't been great, but that should be pretty good at home this week. I mean, I think this could be a week where USC kind of gets exposed. I just don't see this team going through the season undefeated. And you give them credit for being 6-0 to this point. I don't know. I am just not there yet with USC.
But also, I mean, if we think about if that USC team makes it to a college football playoff, that would go down as probably one of the greatest coaching jobs for Lincoln Riley in 1 year to turn a 5-7, 4-8 team into a college football playoff team. That would be
and recognition on when to get out of Dodge and Norman.
That too. What's going on there, by the way?
I don't know. I mean, I told y'all before the season, I thought Oklahoma was in pretty good shape. I thought they were going to win the breakup with USC. Boy, was I wrong about that. It blows my mind to see how bad Oklahoma has been the last few weeks. And you can't pin it all on the Dylan Gabriel injury. That has a lot to do with it because clearly they don't have a backup quarterback. But that doesn't explain losing 49-0 against your arch rival on a neutral field, especially when that arch rival is an unranked team in Texas that seemed to have plenty of issues of its own coming into the game. So blown away by the ineptitude of Oklahoma with Brent Venables and Jeff Lebby, two of the best minds on their respective sides of the ball coaching this team. For them to look this bad, it is shocking. It really is. And it makes you realize, hey, maybe Lincoln Riley was even better than we gave him credit for because he leaves, the bottom falls out, and now all of a sudden in 1 year he's turned USC from a 4-win team into a team we're talking about for the college football playoff.
David, one more far-flung scenario. Oklahoma, they almost always get it right in hiring head coaches. Way back when with Bud Wilkinson, way back when with Chuck Fairbanks, way back with Barry Switzer, with Big Game Bob Stoops, with Lincoln Riley. But when they've missed, they don't wait. They recognize quickly, we missed. Let's get out of this. Schnellenberger, John Blake, Gary Gibbs. After this year, they recognize we made a mistake and make the big Oklahoma gas money offer. Come on home. You led us to a national championship to Josh Heupel.
Yeah, my Tennessee friends are terrified of this exact scenario, and it's far-fetched, but it's not implausible because just look at what happened with Tennessee and Lane Kiffin back in 2009. You never would have thought after one season that he would up and jet for another school. But, it wasn't the same situation. USC was not his alma mater, but it was a place that he'd spent time that was very dear to him. And you got to think, Josh Heupel could kind of come full circle at some point in his career now if he were to go back to Oklahoma, especially after the way things ended when Stoops sort of pushed him out in favor of Lincoln Riley at offensive coordinator. If he were to come home at some point, I could see it. I mean, you can't dismiss the possibility if you're a Tennessee fan. However, I will say, with Oklahoma going to the SEC, if Tennessee is in a much better position than Oklahoma whenever the Brent Venables era comes to an end, it's going to make that decision a whole lot more difficult for Josh Heupel, because would you leave a team if you have Tennessee at 9 or 10 wins on an annual basis to go to an Oklahoma team that's just treading water in the SEC? I think the calculus on that becomes a lot more difficult because of the fact that Oklahoma's jumping ship and joining the conference.
But that was tough to see. Oklahoma just get beat down in that way. I mean, my gosh. I thought, and obviously also the reports in the offseason about how they were gelling and what Brent Venables was doing behind the scenes, they were all so positive, and they were all so great. Just shows you, hey, maybe not everybody knows what they're talking about. But David, always appreciate it, man. Actually, real quick, before I get you out of here, a selfish question for me for betting purposes. How good is UCLA? Do you think UCLA is that type of team? Number 11 this week in the AP poll.
Yeah, well, they're unbeaten, so it's just a product of that, why they're so high. I don't know. I'm not totally sold yet. I don't know. I guess I'm not sold on anybody in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I get that.
I'm talking through it, but huge game against Oregon this week. Should be, honestly, one of the best games of the week. I think Oregon, I kind of tipped my hand on that when we were talking earlier. I think Oregon sort of proved something this week and beats UCLA and shows, hey, we're not the same team now that we were 6 weeks ago when we lost to Georgia.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Chip Kelly, though, under the radar. Brett and I were talking about before the show. I mean, just has won 9 games in a row dating back to last year.
How do you go under the radar in Brentwood?
It's wild. Well, because no one's watching the games, I guess, maybe. Nobody in the stands.
Hiding out in Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly.
In plain sight. Yeah, exactly.
It's wild stuff. David, always appreciate it, though, man. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, David.
Thanks, guys.
And you can find him on Twitter at David W. Cobb. All of his work, CBSSports.com. Second hour of our show brought to you by our good friends at the Big Green Egg. And I always talk about your best ability, whether it's in sports or grilling, being your availability. I truly mean that, and the Big Green Egg captures that wholeheartedly. Last grill you will ever have to buy. There's 2 reasons that is the case. One, they have had a warranty on all the ceramic parts since 1995. So guess what? You have an issue. One goes malfunct, you send it in to our good friends at Big Green Egg, and guess what? They send one back free of charge. You get it attached, you get moving. Also, I mentioned ceramic. Listen to that word, ceramic. It's not metal. So once those the issues come, rain, snow, sleet, whatever it may be, hail, that ceramic holds up a lot better than your normal gas and metal grills. So go get a Big Green Egg. And there's also 7 different sizes. So they really have a size and a price point for everyone. You can do whatever you want on it. Smoke, bake, roast, sear, grill, desserts, smoke a butt. You can grill off some burgers. You can do anything you want on that Big Green Egg. And it is grilling season. So get one now. Get one right this second. And also, 100% natural lumpwood charcoal grill, so the flavor's going to be great. You can find it at these retailers around the area: Garden Spas and Pool, Germantown Hardware, Hamilton's Fireplace and Grills, and both the Aces in town, East Memphis Ace and Cordova Ace Hardware. So if you're looking for a do-it-all, reliable, long-lasting grill at a great price point, look no further than our good friends at the Big Green Egg.
I want to get my woods correct. Westwood, not Brentwood in Los Angeles, where UCLA is located. And also, I don't want to scare or threaten our audience, but we have Stanley Cup picks later today.
Oh, yes.
Stay with us.
We are literally
over it.
I mean, how long? It's going to take, what, a minute and a half? About, if that.
No, we're breaking down every division. I've got notes in my backpack.
You told you not to threaten today. Don't threaten our audience.
Well, let me guess. You picked the Maple Leaves to win.
Well,
you don't want to
Leaves.
Okay, gotcha.
Leaves.
What? Leafs.
Okay.
Maple Leafs, which is not the plural.
They
made up a word.
I even had to check to see if these two could meet each other in the finals.
Lord.
Brett, East versus West. It's not that complicated.
The hockey playoffs have gotten confusing through the years.
Well,
now,
within each conference, it gets confusing. But there's 2 conferences.
I know. I still
like
had to
all
check.
of our U.S. sports, it's just one
I still
versus
had
the
to
other.
check.
Yeah, I hear you. But I'm glad you did. So you didn't come in here and put 2 Western Conference teams in the finals.
Oh, like my World Cup bracket a few years ago, and I didn't know what I was doing when I filled it out.
Oh, that's coming up, isn't it?
Oh,
that's coming up soon.
Wait
We do one,
for
don't
World
we?
Cup pick.
We do a
Yeah,
World
we
Cup
do. It's
bracket,
the
don't
World
we?
Cup.
There we go. All right, let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll get to our SEC recap right here on Sports Time with Gabe and Stats.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best of service? You want the best of products? It's the combination and the trust you'll always get from the best guys around. Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. So what if summer's coming to a close? It'll be back, and you'll be ready with a new spa. Why's that? Because the world's biggest spa sale is happening right now at Family Leisure. Right now, through October the 2nd, you will get the best ever prices on spas. Family Leisure has a large selection of spas still in stock and ready to ship, and up to 30% off. Yes, 30% off in-stock spas. You want a swim spa? Now's the time to buy with huge discounts just for you. Special financing is available. Plus, you can get free upgrades on select spas. Just ask about it. Family Leisure also has fantastic deals on saunas and massage chairs. So, while summer is coming to a close, you should be opening up to a new spa during the world's biggest spa sale happening right now through October the 2nd at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration Architectural Shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
For the latest from the world of golf, tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelch and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop here on Sports 56. Real sports talk.
Hey, sports fans, this is Ultimate Vegas Insider John Anthony, and I'm on fire. To prove it, I'm releasing your Monday Night Report free on a recorded message line. Call 1-800-244-5506. I love tonight's matchup. Las Vegas, Kansas City, side and total. Las Vegas, Kansas City, critical information confirmed. Plus Thursday, Washington, Chicago, and Saturday's early releases. 5 big plays, John Anthony has you covered. I love to go 5-0 free on the recorded message line. 1-800-244-5506. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. Las Vegas, Kansas City is a monster. Call 1-800-244-5506. You want information? I've got it. I love to go 5-0 to the season free. Call the recorded message line 1-800-244-5506. That's 1-800-244-5506. Or go to johnanthonysports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
Golfers, now in Edwin Watts Golf Shops, it's time to hit faster, longer, and straighter with Titleist. The new TSR drivers are designed to maximize distance and elevate your performance. Titleist TSR driver, pushing for perfection every day. Come into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the new Titleist TSR drivers and get custom fit for free today. Can't make it in store? Visit us online at worldwidegolfshops.com. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee and family owned and operated since 1968.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
How do you want that cooked? Burnt to a crisp or bloody as hell?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Back on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. Pretty decent week. I mean, a deep week as far as SEC football was concerned. But I have to start here because it is sort of, I'm not going to say the clock striking midnight, but it is not looking as good as it should for this Arkansas Razorbacks team. That loss they took to Mississippi State, 40-17. I wonder where they go from here in regards to the rest of the season.
Well, they go to BYU this week.
You got to know they're
that's not easy. That's not easy getting there.
At BYU, at Auburn in a row. Then you have Liberty, LSU, Ole Miss, and then at Missouri to end the year. And at 3-3,
you got a pure D gimme anywhere? Just no doubt about it.
After what I saw them lay an egg that bad against Mississippi State, as much as I want to say it's a gimme, I think if KJ Jefferson plays, they should win. But Auburn and Missouri should be gimmies. But again, they're on the road, and I just saw you look awful against Mississippi State. Weren't even competitive. We're not competitive. No, at no point during that game did you have hope that Arkansas was going to go win.
Y'all want to know the shrine to Vegas?
Let's hear it.
Sure.
40-17, the final. What's that total?
55.5. 56.5.
Well, no, 40-17 is 57, right?
57.
Yeah, but it was 55.5 was the total.
It went off that.
Well, let's see.
I thought it went off at 57.
Let's see where it started. I think I can get you
with
the
a missed
exact
extra
number.
point.
Ooh.
Okay, so it opened. That's interesting. Opened at 62, got all the way down to 55.5.
So it kickoff.
So I think for Friday though is probably around 56.
So that missing the extra point didn't cost you?
I guess not.
Okay.
I guess not.
Like we need another shrine to Vegas. They have them. It's called the Circus and the Strip.
Yeah, just start listing all of them off. They're there.
And crab legs.
Yeah.
Did
complimentary golf?
Yeah. And rooms.
Yeah.
They give you free rooms too if you win enough. But for Sam Pittman, I heard his discussion points after the game and how he said, we're not losers. We have lost, but we're not losers. And we're going to come out each week and still have the same thought process and still game plan the same and work just as hard. That's way easier said than done at 3-3 with the hopes that they had hinging on this season.
It is. He's now 15-14 for his tenure. We know what he took over. We know how well he's advanced it. We know the bowl game win over Penn State, but I had Razorback friends of mine seriously this summer talking Sugar Bowl, talking.
And Brett, on paper I didn't blame them.
I did. I never bought it. I had 7-5 for the year. I had them defeating A&M. So far I've missed on one game. I had beating A&M, but I had the loss at Starkville. I do have wins down the stretch preseason against Liberty and Ole Miss in Fayetteville and in Columbia. I don't know that I could pick the last six for Arkansas.
Anything short of a college football playoff, I was okay with Arkansas fans and people who were believers of Arkansas. I was okay with them believing that.
A lot of 10-2 talk, and the top columnists in the state at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette picked 10-2.
You say you blame them. What did you see in the preseason that sort of discouraged you from that? Just the schedule in general?
The depth, the roster.
Okay.
It's still just good if it all stays healthy. And it didn't.
and it didn't. But defensively, they were sticking in every single game last year. Obviously, they had some offenses get over on them, but offensively they were locked in.
And I expected for the final year KJ Jefferson to come back ripped and really ready for a big senior year. He's not.
And we sort of saw
our last year. I don't know anybody's class status anymore.
With the COVID year and everything, we sort of saw the beginnings of the. I'm not going to call it a full collapse, kind of a collapse, considering what they thought they were. We saw the beginnings of it against Missouri State, didn't we? Just a team that wasn't quite ready. Sam Pittman didn't have them up for it.
I think we saw it opening afternoon against Cincinnati, but for a couple of plays, that game could have been different. Now, that's the way of the world, too. And it is very fragile. It's a couple plays for everybody out there. But they didn't bulldoze Cincinnati. The margin against South Carolina got a little bigger than how most of that game played out. They could sure have A&M back. I mean, Arkansas should have won that game, but shouldn't have won Alabama, shouldn't have won at State, and didn't.
Now, South Carolina, they beat them 44-30. South Carolina came out this week 4-2. I'm not going to go full like Beamer Ball is thriving. South Carolina. Kentucky,
we got a lot of trains.
Kentucky was missing Will Levis, and that's why Kentucky ended up losing that game the way they did. But Kentucky fumbled immediately to start the game. Chris Rodriguez fumbled the ball, set up an easy touchdown score. Then there was a block punt. Then there was a missed field goal all in the first half. So Kentucky's second half, they didn't do a thing offensively. They need Will Levis back in a big way. But South Carolina, that's a big win, big notch on the belt for them on the road.
It is, and now South Carolina, they're trying to do the bowl math eligibility, and it looks as favorable for them as it can in the next three: A&M, Mizzou, Vandy. There's 2 wins in there, isn't it?
A&M's still tricky. As much as I don't believe in A&M, that's still a tricky game. Defensively, they lock in
Columbia.
If Max Johnson's back, there could be some potential there. For A&M to win that game, but you gotta think you have Mizzou and Vandy. You gotta think that.
I had South Carolina 6-6 preseason.
I actually had them 7-5. I had them overachieving this year.
But I've got a late win over Tennessee. I no longer think.
I still am not. Spencer Rattler still doesn't do it for me. Still,
me either.
I don't think we'll ever. I think we're seeing he is who he is, right? I mean, he's played enough ball. He is who he is. Although that first year, just. A 10-2 Oklahoma team looked very confident for the most part, good stats, and then came out last year and just fell flat. And this year I think he's been very similar, still makes mistakes with the football, 5 TDs to 8 interceptions.
Does anybody need an open date more than A&M this weekend? They had the perfectly planned open date as it worked out.
Yeah.
Full assessment on a lot of things
you also are the believer of if you play Bama, open date would be the best thing ever. I mean, just whoever plays Bama that week. But I still don't. What's the open date really going to do for them in the long run, I guess would be the question there.
A serious self-scout.
I just don't think they're that good enough offensively to win a bunch of games.
With Haynes King, I think you're going to have to really get down a couple of plays you do right.
And it ain't the one they ran on the goal line.
Not that one.
And I understand there's a lot of different plays that people like to run on the goal line these days. And you practice red zone offense, 2-point conversions, that type of offense all the time when you're in tight red zone at practice. But to be that vanilla, just 4 stick routes. 4 guys on around, you all run straight to the goal line and turn around.
And that was a chance at the last laugh for Jimbo with the May feud.
He would have had
of
that
all time, back-to-back years.
Yep. That fan base is happy for the year after that win too. If they win that,
take that, small God.
You can't say God.
Why'd you say you God? Can, but okay. I wanted to make the small emphasis.
Okay, I get you
for the more religious persuasion of our listeners. I was raised right.
I get you, but not a rollout. Don't move the pocket. Right. They didn't do anything. Just threw it right into the teeth of the secondary.
The play they were most ready for.
I can't understand.
The play, the Bama defensive coaches had to be thinking, hope they run this play.
They did. Thank
you. Game over.
I do get a kick out of Johnny Manziel saying, worst play call ever. Johnny, you would have ran backwards, ran forward, hurdled a guy.
Do you know a gigantic market out there for one John Manziel? For him to do college football, but particularly A&M games, Manning cast style. He could print money.
Okay, but with what network is the question I would ask him immediately. Just like with Texas.
Started at YouTube. Started somewhere.
Okay, just himself. He could. Yeah. Whatever he does these days could sell. But to get on with a network for him is different than the man.
That's out there. That's out there for a lot of people. In a lot of places.
Let's just say his image is not as clean.
You could do it doing Tiger games.
I need a big man like Gabe
I got
with
you,
me.
I got you.
Y'all would be dynamite.
The Manning cast or the Gabe cast.
Gabe cast.
It's out there for a lot of people.
Okay. Well, he'd have
because
to
we all are natural born second guessers. That's a lot of what the Manning cat. Now their fixture in football is most of it.
There's an interesting app, and you just reminded me of it. Bring it up. There's this thing called Playback these days that a bunch of my buddies do, where they watch a game and their pictures up there, and they sort of just talk about the game while they're. All you have to do is enter your TV provider.
Guys,
and you can watch a game with them, and they can.
We've had a term for it around football as long as the sports existed. Monday morning quarterbacking.
Well, think about like Twitch streams, except for sports. It's pretty interesting thought process. I don't know how much it is going to catch on for just normal people, but also with your Johnny Manziel thing, him getting in with a network would be the hardest thing, though. Right?
I don't think you have to go network anymore.
He would be able to do it.
You could go the Johnny network.
Yeah, he'd be able to do it independently,
and print money. Especially if it really starts to turn ugly. For Jimbo, he would get more viewers that way.
Yeah,
he would want bad. He would want a train wreck because a lot of time train wreck sells.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of train talk today, isn't it? Let's talk barbecue. Let's talk two great places for it. The Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar are the original in Germantown. Watch Monday Night Football there. Any group, any perfect place for any group for lunch or at dinner time at the Collierville Commissary. And if you're craving an easier way to order, text Commissary to 33733. Memphis-style barbecue and ribs, the Memphis way, the slow way. Start that feast with the great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales, smoked chicken wings, or the barbecue nachos invented in the early 80s at the Germantown Commissary. Then dig into the ribs. Get the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a sandwich, on a plate, all the sides. Deviled egg, slaw, beans, bread as well. You can even order it by the pound or a 6-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. I always say save room for dessert like the strawberry cake, the lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, and the pecan pie. All those you can get whole pies, whole cakes as well, and you can get those when we start talking the holiday season and the holiday bird. We'll be talking that soon. 901-754-5540 online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and in Germantown, those party areas. We will get outside and watch Monday Night Football tonight on the patio. For catering, tailgating, and always at the holidays, always think the commissary. 901-754-5540 online at commissarybbq.com.
So it is a Monday. That means we're going to talk about who won the college football and NFL weekend. But more importantly, we have to get to some extreme overreactions on both. That's next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. Fiveash Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing.
I can walk again. I can cross my legs again. I can wear heels again.
After years of living with chronic joint pain, Andrea Southard is now living a normal life, pain-free, thanks to natural biologic treatments at QC Kinetics.
We tried everything, and my husband had heard the commercial for QC Kinetics on the radio, and he told me to call him and check it out.
That phone call changed Andrea's life. QC Kinetics used powerful natural biologics to treat her aching joints. It's high-tech precision medicine that can restore and repair damaged joint tissue with no surgery and no drugs, providing lasting relief.
I felt like I was in my 20s again. I could tie my own shoes. Really the little things that you don't think about.
Pain in your hips, knees, back, shoulders? Get rid of the pain now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Want to sleep better, manage pain, ease anxiety, or just feel better? Have you tried hemp? Hemp 2.0 is a locally owned and operated full-service retail CBD and THC store in Collierville. Hemp 2.0 carries only the best and latest lines of all hemp-derived products, with over 100 different brands to choose from to meet all needs. Whether you want to combat pain and inflammation, sleepless nights, arthritis pain, or stress, Hemp 2.0 has something to improve your overall health and well-being. If you're looking for an unbeatable, uplifting, and euphoric feel, Hemp 2.0 now also carries all federally legal hemp-derived THC products. Have questions? Come by Hemp 2.0 and meet their knowledgeable staff or visit shophemp20.com. At Hemp 2.0, they provide a quality range of the best CBD and THC products, including edibles, topicals, smokables, tinctures, vapes, and their newest edition, infused drinks. Experience the finest, all natural products at Hemp 2.0 today. 3670 South Houston Levee Road in Collierville. Hemp 2.0, your one-stop shop for health, wellness, lifestyle.
Sure, the name may be Sunrise, but let's not forget that Sunrise on Jefferson also serves fantastic lunches, prepared the Sunrise way, fast, fresh, and just for you. Any great restaurant lunch menu starts with a great burger, and Sunrise is no exception. Sunrise's bacon cheeseburger has everything you'd expect in a great burger, including a house-made special sauce and house-made pickles. Not a lot of places can boast that. If you can't make it to Sunrise for breakfast, then swing by later for a Sunrise lunch.
Yeah, boy. If you have a great gumbo that's a real taste bud pleaser, then get yourself or a team entered in the 10th Inning Gumbo Cook-Off Contest. A great day of fun with a gumbo and chicken wing cooking contest. Cash and prizes for first, second, and People's Choice winners. Plus live music, raffles, and more to help benefit cancer patients in need of treatment. The event will be held Sunday, October 23rd at 10th Inning Sports Bar and Grill, Getwell Road in South Haven. To get signed up, go to 10thinningcompetition.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Big Green Egg.
Bon appetit.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Time for some Monday winners and some extreme overreactions from college football in the NFL weekend. I want to start with winners, and I'll start with college football. My winner for college football, UCLA, and it's just weird. We talked about it. Westwood, in the middle of L.A., going under the radar's hard, but they've won 9 in a row. They're a top 15 team. They're at number 11. Now, a lot of people, you can doubt what they can do for the rest of the year.
Chip Kelly, proven college coach.
Yeah, they're going to have to prove it next week against Oregon. They're going to have to win again for them to get the
That's big Chip Kelly to play that team.
But Chip Kelly is showing right now he can still do the damn thing when he wants to. He can still coach football.
My college football winner who won the weekend, DJU and Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
They go out there every weekend and really answer the critics, clam people up, clam detractors up week in, week out. He's making all the throws, and DJU and Clemson doing it again.
And I have been saying this, and I'm not going to do the Heisman thing. That's not real. But look at this. Look at the stat line he's putting together. Like, if you get a chance, After last year, 9 TDs, 10 interceptions, looked terrible. Go look at DJU's numbers. 14 TDs, 2 interceptions, 311 yards rushing the ball, 3 TDs.
He in complete control.
He is having bounce back years.
When we thought after Labor Day night the seeds of a quarterback controversy had been planted, they're not.
You remember our preseason? We had lunch at Ronnie's, and you asked for bold predictions about where the season was headed.
I do.
I'm not going to say. We don't have to say what my bold prediction was, but you remember it, right? You guys remember it?
No, but somebody can remind me later.
Oh, I remember.
Okay.
You were there, Brian.
I was there. I can't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Yeah. My winner from the weekend in college football, TCU. Big win over Kansas. They played the defensive game in the first half, 10-3 game at halftime. Then they played the offensive game in the second half to secure the win after Kansas' backup quarterback came in and had a hell of a second half.
2 halves, 60-minute game.
Yeah. I told Brett at the break, watching Lance Leipold almost win that game with a backup quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, how good of a coach is this guy? How good?
Will that hurt him? It's hurt Willie Fritz.
I think it will.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Willie Fritz, from a success standpoint, up and down. It's hurt him. Yeah. But I think also the up and down nature of what he's done at Tulane is hurtful.
All right, I'll overreact first. Egg Bowl is going to punch a ticket to the SEC championship game. Wow. Winner between Ole Miss and State goes to Atlanta the next week.
He's been setting this up so we get used to it all day, hasn't he? I love your scenarios. My overreaction: Alabama will lose one of their next 4 games at Tennessee versus Mississippi State. Then they'll have the bye at LSU, at Ole Miss. They will lose one of those games.
I'll go 2 overreactions. Bama loses 2 more times this year. How about that?
Is one of those the bye week? I sure hope so. My overreaction: Notre Dame won't lose another game in the Marcus Freeman era. They started off 0-2.
Take that, Rockney.
He converted to Catholicism. He's a Catholic now at a Catholic school. What does he do? He goes 3-0. 18th ranked Syracuse, 4 Clemson, 7 USC coming up on the schedule. They don't stand a chance.
He's really
touchdown Jesus.
So what you're saying is he's buying in.
He bought in. He was only like half in at first. Now he's completely 10 toes down in at Notre Dame. I love it.
NFL winners?
NFL winner for me, Daniel Jones and the Giants. Off to a great start early yesterday morning in London. Nobody thought they would have this record at this point.
I'm right there with you, 27-22 over the Packers. Danny Dimes, not playing great ball, but okay ball. And Brian Daboll, correct direction. I don't care what you say about where they may not end in the playoffs. They may not get into a playoff game. But Brian Daboll has them going in the right direction.
Maybe not Parcells, but a good fit there.
The Cowboys.
Why not?
Why not?
My overreaction from the NFL, the Rams will miss the playoffs completely, and they have to blow up. They will have to in the offseason because of how much money they have doled out. Blow up the whole operation outside of Cooper Kupp. Money decisions will have to be made this offseason.
My overreaction NFL, all New York Super Bowl. Jets versus Giants.
Wow. My overreaction. Look at the NFC East after years of people mocking how bad it is.
The Beast.
The best division in the National Football League. The Eagles, Cowboys, they're going to split their 2 games this year. Then they're going to meet up in the NFC Championship. Winner take all to go to the Super Bowl. Cowboys do it.
The NFC Beast. How about it? Let's go ahead and get to hour number 3 today, and we'll get to our Monday Night Football preview. We're going to have to make a bunch of picks where I don't want to threaten you too hard. We'll make a Stanley Cup decision. We will talk about the divisional series that will be played in the afternoon, Phillies, Braves, and Mariners versus Astros. But coming up next, we have Evan Barnes joining us to talk a little bit of Tiger football.
This is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. I'm often called Shell Done because I sell homes and work with buyers and I get the job done. There are 7 keys to successfully selling your home quickly at a great price. First, call me. I do my research and advise you on preparation, presentation, and proper pricing that gets you the activity to get the best price. Follow my advice and it can happen. I did mention 7 keys to a successful sale, didn't I? Well, if you use the first key, calling or emailing me, you really don't need the next 6 keys. Remember, that's Sheldon Rosengarten at 483-0546 or MemphisRelocate.com. If you don't need me now, write it down for later or for a friend at Sheldon at 483-0546 at MemphisRelocate.com. Do it now, and who knows, you may hear your home advertised here. Remember, as bad a golfer as I am, when selling homes, Sheldon gets it done.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York. But many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Football is here, and this season, my 46th as a professional handicapper. More than any season before, you need my help when it comes to sports wagering. The transfer portal has made it impossible for the average fan to keep up with college football. Take advantage of our experience, contacts, and information and get season service, college and pro football and college basketball for $1,000. Total cost, no add-ons or extra charges. Every play we make through the NCAA Final Four championship. 5 losing seasons in 45 years is a phenomenal record. Last season, 65.5% against the spread, including a 13-4 record on our 10-star plays. Call me, John Rainey, the Rain Man, at 901-461-4600. That's 461-4600, and get season service for $1,000. The Rain Man and All-Star Sports. You can't do any better.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
Make them drive the car. Make them touch it. Feel it.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Yeah. Third hour's here. Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats on a Monday. I'm Gabe. He's Stats. Brad Diggs, of course, in the Family Studios with us, producing the program. And joining us via the phone line is our guy, Evan Barnes, commercial appeal beat writer for the Tiger football team. You can find him on Twitter at Evan_B. Evan, how are you?
Good, Gabe. Good, Stats. How y'all doing?
Doing well,
doing
Evan.
okay.
That Friday night, in the cruel and unusual fashion.
Diabolical. I mean,
it's way up there.
Evan, I don't know if I've ever... Obviously,
it's soul-searching.
I think 2015 at Houston, and it's always Houston, right? Whenever it's a close game and somebody getting their heart ripped out, it's always against Houston. Maybe 2015 rivals that, but that was about as cruel and unusual, like Stats said, as you could possibly get in this day and age.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, no way to put it. It was brutal. I mean, I felt like when Ryan Shortfield said he understood that most of the city was probably in a funk over it. I mean, he's right. I mean, that was probably as bad as Memphis had. I know you can look at the UTSA loss because it was you had more points that UTSA came back from, but to give it all up in one period was just almost, I wouldn't even say like unfathomable, but it was just almost like cruel, especially because obviously Houston is, going to the Big 12 and they can laugh that one all the way out of the conference.
That's it.
An absolute utter collapse by Memphis the whole way.
And Evan, the UTSA game last year, the proverbial, you kind of see that one coming. You could not see Friday night until it had happened.
Yep, until the onside kick got caught.
33-32. Head home, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, it was – look, we're on the press box writing our stories, and as soon as that onside kick happened, everyone was just like, oh, boy. Because basically once that onside kick was recovered, it was just basically waiting for the inevitable. It was like, okay, something bad is going to happen here, at least if you're a Memphis fan. But it was a lot of, four-letter words in the press boxes. Everyone's stories are like getting changed around. But, yeah, there's a lot that Memphis has to look at itself in the mirror for. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of soul-searching. Ryan Schofield said today that they're not really worrying or panicking. But if you're Memphis, and I tried to, push it after the game, it's like you've been in this situation before where this is now your third double-digit lead that you've blown, and the second time it's happened at home in the last 2 years. You just got to see how they handle this come Saturday against ECU.
And it's bizarre because that game, for most of it, you see it. They're up 32-19, and you say, oh, my gosh, if they can hold on to this one, it looks like they're going to be able to hold on to this one. They can beat anybody in conference if they play the way they did. It looked like they had a good game plan. They executed defensively. They were locked in. They made life hell on Clayton Tune all night. But then when it ends and you see Houston come back, you have to ask yourself, is this going to be just pure devastation for the team? How are they going to be mentally? Because what I saw on the field for 3.5 quarters was a team that could win any game they play in conference for the rest of the year. But then after the game, you just have to you don't know what they will look like from a motivation standpoint from this point forward. Because I remember in 2015 losing a game against Houston and getting the heart ripped out late. You just never quite recovered. Our team just sort of folded in a lot of ways after that game.
Yeah, and that's going to be key because a lot of guys were on the team last year where after you lose to UTSA, you go on that 3-game losing streak, you end up, finish, being under 500 at one point, and you rally to finish 66th. And that UTSA game was kind of like the first, spiral downward. And what you're hoping for as a Memphis fan is you probably are wondering, is it going to be deja vu? Because, again, you're on the road twice, going into, you're on the road twice, just like 2018 or last year, and you got to find a way to shake it off against two road teams that are going to be a challenge at ECU and Tulane. So I think we're going to see kind of what this team is made of come Saturday. If they can, first of all, take their road issues and then find a way to shake some of their, just the immediate shock of this one.
So you see, obviously everybody reacts after a game. Fire Silverfield, fire the whole staff, yada yada yada. And I get the emotional response that always comes out of things like this. On the field, beyond maybe when you should have taken the timeout, how you should have taken the timeout, was there any massive, for you, just watching, massive coaching gaffes that just, hey, I scratched my head, that makes no sense, the decision you made?
So you mentioned the timeout, right? At the end of the fourth quarter, you said that one,
right? I think that's the debatable one for me.
I would say that's the easy one for me because you call timeout with 11 seconds left. I see that as a mistake because one, the clock had already stopped when they moved the change.
Right.
You basically hurry up, get up to the field. You spike the ball. You got 8 seconds probably. Yeah, basically you basically can run 2 plays because let's assume.
Now, granted, you're already behind the 8 ball, but yes, I agree with you. I agree with the sentiment.
But let's run this hypothetical. You have 8 seconds left. You stop. The clock is stopped. You get the call. Set out down to run a play. You still got a timeout. assume that Seth Hennigan gets sacked on that play at the end, you still got a timeout to use so you can run one more play. So you call timeout, at least in my mind, you have 2 plays you can run.
Right.
That's the one coaching mistake that I think was all kind of confusing in hindsight. Going for 2 after the Gabe Rogers trick play, I understand the math behind it because you're basically saying, hey, you want to go up 21 instead of 20. I understand that decision. It just was one of those things where, like, in hindsight, you look back and say it was one of those things that adds up. Kind of like what Seth Hennigan talked about, how he said that third down play where he regretted not running further instead of diving. It was one of those plays where it's like, if you win the game, you're not talking about it as much.
At all.
But when you look back at it, it adds up. I think those are probably the ones. But obviously, you know, the one coaching move is a timeout. But obviously,
I agree.
the other mistakes to me were, again, the kickoff return touchdown, the first one that Memphis allowed since 2008. Can't have that.
Yep. Onside kick.
Before that, Houston converted 2 4th downs on that second-to-last drive, not just Clayton Tune's run, but Clayton Tune escaped and found Tank Dell, I believe, on 4th and 9 before a touchdown happened.
Yep.
That can't happen. So I feel like those are the plays where you look at it and say that's where the problems really occurred. And then, of course, like you said, Gabe, the onside kick, just you recover one and then don't even get a hand on the second one. It's just an absolute mental mistakes that just really added up.
And it really, and I said this off the top of the show, and I obviously when it comes to someone's job, I'm never calling for it or anything, but if you're Ryan Silverfield, if you're Coach Silverfield, you have to look inside the staff, the players you have out there on the field. You have to consider everything about how you play special teams. Last year, it was the issue. It's the reason in fourth quarters that you gave up games. You couldn't kick field goals. You got that fixed this year, but now it's something else. Now kickoff return has its issues. Onside, you don't have a hands team that really knows exactly what's expected of them. With the special teams the past 2 years, if it hasn't been one thing, it's been another.
Yeah, and you want to, you almost feel weird because on the one hand, you're perfect on field goals. You're in the top 5 in net punting average. Joe Doyle is the top 5 punter in terms of net average. Everything is going well, at least from the kicking standpoint. But now it's the coverage. Now it's again, they recovered an onside kick. So I don't know if the hands team was just, totally falling apart.
Had to call a timeout before that one, by the way. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Set of circumstances.
Yeah, so and if you really want to be honest, Gabe, you can go back to the Mississippi State game last year where Calvin Austin's return could have been negated by having, 2 players on the field wearing the same number. So all those things, it's very strange. Little details, little things like that, as the coaches always bring up, it always just kind of adds up weirdly. And I don't think Memphis makes a sudden decision. I don't think you're going to see any changes on anything. Right. Just because last year, you could have had similar questions and Memphis didn't make any moves. I think what you kind of hope for is let's just see how everyone regroups on the road, because I think Memphis has got to figure out, first of all, how to play better on the road to begin with, because they've only won 3 road games since Silverfield's been the head guy. But you really just have to wait and see on that. I don't think you make a sudden move, but I do think you have to find ways to fire everybody up and just say, hey, we got to focus on the details, because right now the details are just adding up to where the issues that have been there in game 2, in game 3, they're adding up again, whether it's the drops, whether it's kickoff return coverage, whether it's passing plays being given up. All of that is adding up once again, and everybody saw it Friday night.
Evan Barnes, our guest, he is the beat writer covering all things Memphis Tigers football for the hometown newspaper, The Commercial Appeal. Evan, Friday night had a little bit of something for everyone, but those like me a week ago saying, hey, 4-1's 4-1, back off. You can't have it both ways. It is now 4-2, but you saw, I think, the best 52 minutes of football played all year before ultimately the collapse. The detractors at 4-1 saying, yeah, but I feel like the dam's getting ready to burst. It's getting ready to happen. That has resonance today.
Oh, sorry, Seth. That was the question, right?
Yes.
Sorry. I was asking. Sorry. No, everyone's got reason to worry because, like we said, this is a team that we thought this is the time to schedule we thought would be really difficult for them. After you get past Houston, you got 2 tough road games. You have to bye, and then you got UCF. I think anyone who's concerned has reason to be concerned. I think, you look at ECU, yes, they lost at home to Navy and they lost that tough one to Tulane, but that's a team that looks really good in terms of, what they can do really well. Tulane might be the second best team in the AAC, and that pass defense looks absolutely legit from what they did at ECU. I watched that game. So you take those two teams and you say Memphis is probably going to be an underdog next week. They're already underdogs, for them in Vegas this week. And then after the bye week, oh, by the way, you get UCF, who is a physical, run-heavy team that, plays right into Memphis's concerns of, hey, you're statistically a good run defense, but maybe you haven't faced a physical run defense like the one UCF is bringing. So these next three games are absolutely reason to say, everything was all good before October hit,
Yeah.
So we're going to have to find out.
I stopped too abruptly. Well, I said that has resonance. I should have continued with saying, we know which one's loudest, which one's more accurate. 4-1's 4-1, and now that's 4-2, or is it I saw this coming? Which one's more accurate?
I think the one you just said, Brett, the ones who people are concerned with 4-2, I don't think you can put a positive spin on it. Like, you can sit there and say, yeah, you're 4-2, but go look at who the Memphis's wins are. Like, their biggest win is probably against Navy, which is 3-3 right now. Right now, you're 4-2, but you're about to face two tough road teams, and UCF's looming down the road. So I don't think anyone should feel overconfident. Like, yeah, you're 4-2. Like, yes, you're 4-2, and it looks good. But as we all know, all 4-2s aren't created equal. And the concerns that Memphis has, where you're one of the nation's worst passing defenses, you're one of the worst teams in kickoff return coverage, and yet you also are one of the nation's top teams in takeaways. And, all those things are true. So really, I think if you're measured and say the season's not lost, that's perfectly accurate, and you should feel that way. I think if you feel that way, but you're also concerned about these next two games, you have every reason to feel that way, because neither one of those two games, yes, you can win those games, but there are clear ways you can lose those games. Yeah. So if you're Memphis, you definitely need this next game. The best case scenario I've said, and I said this before the season, your best case is to hope for a split for these first two games, and ECU looks like potentially the better chance for that. But again, you're going to have to, put forth an effort on Saturday that maybe kind of ease those concerns of people who are saying you're 4-2, but if that makes sense.
I think you're right. I think ECU is probably the simpler, easier, everything there in air quotes, because none of this is easy or simple. I think it's easier, but I know historically Memphis has better rosters than Tulane when they meet.
Well, to that point, what happened the last two times they were in Tulane? They lost.
True. Yeah. Very
and
true.
So that's where we can get to that next week, but that's where the concern is that recently Memphis has not been able to beat Tulane in New Orleans the last two trips, and that team I just saw play ECU at home. If Tulane plays like that, Memphis is going to be in deep trouble. So I would say, not to overlook ECU. You're concerned that maybe whether talent is there and whether talent side tilts towards Memphis, it's going to come down to the details. How well coached Memphis looks, because Tulane's going to bring that with Willie Fritz. And ECU, I forgot, these two games are also homecoming games for ECU and Tulane. Yep. So there's going to be a lot of emotion where Memphis is really going to have to, rely on its veterans to say, hey, you're going to, buckle down. Buckle down and relax, because that emotion is going to be swirling. So it's going to be an interesting two-game stretch, kind of what most people maybe expected, that these two games might be a real test for this Memphis team after 4 games at home.
Evan, I can't prove this. We'll never know. I wish we were having this discussion. I fear that even if it had been a win, they hang on. And the 5-1 crowd is out very loud and proud, and I would have been out there among that. I still think you would have the dubious, apprehensive crowd out there.
You probably would. It would have been a little bit quieter.
It would have been. It would have been. Hey, well, Houston's 2-4 this year. Houston's struggling.
Yeah, people absolutely would have been like, hey, you beat Houston. Maybe people say, all right, Houston's in trouble. They're imploding, and Memphis is going to obviously be a team to get taken seriously in the conference race. But yeah, it all depends on who you listen to. Like I would say, pick and choose. I hate to say it on the radio side,
in the big city.
Pick and choose who you listen to in terms of
That's right.
What energy you're going to feed right now.
Also, though, like, Evan, truthfully, do you think it's fair to say that through, 3 quarters and, 7 minutes probably, because they gave up the kickoff return at the 8-minute mark, for 3 quarters and about 7 minutes, that was probably the best ball we've seen the Tigers play? Is that a fair statement?
I would say Navy is probably the game I would go to first.
Okay.
Because that was probably more complete. They finished that game stronger. They looked better in all their phases. I would say that probably stands out to me a little bit more. But the way that the defense played, at least through 3 quarters, considering that Houston team is still, got a potential, draft pick wide receiver in Tank Dell and maybe a, somewhat, maybe, undrafted free agent quarterback in Clayton Tune, it's right up there with that. Those 3 quarters were good, but I would still say the offense was not as impressive as it was against Navy, because
I think that's fair.
Navy, you were scoring touchdowns. This team, you only had 1 touchdown after the first quarter, and that was off a trick play from Gabe Rogers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's as great as that play was, I don't know if you want to play 3 quarters where your only touchdown pass was thrown by a wide receiver. That's a little bit concerning.
That's interesting. That's interesting. You got to get it how you live, though. And I think Navy, though, did a good job of limiting opportunities in the ground game. And obviously, early in the year, Seth Hennigan had a couple of new guys he could work with Joe Skates, and he threw it over top and delivered some balls. Now, I've had struggles with the American Athletic Conference in general all year. Who's the real ECU? Who's the real UCF? After they had a nasty loss against Louisville, who's the real SMU? I mean, we saw Navy just hammer
Cincinnati scuffles with South Florida.
We saw Navy just hammer Tulsa, and we saw Tulsa go on the road and play against Ole Miss close.
Who's the real American?
I am confused by this conference as a whole.
Yeah, it is by far the most confusing in terms of think behind Cincinnati and Tulane. You're not sure really what this conference is going to offer, which makes it more fun because obviously, there's no, there's no, what's it called? There's no easy way to put it. I think, maybe you said last week, but that middle high pack of the conference, maybe 3 through 7, you could toss up, shake it in the bag, and let's see what happens. But I think it'll be just a matter of this month will determine who's going to be where. But we still got 3 weeks this month to let it all shake out. I'm excited to see how it shakes out. But I do think if you're a Memphis fan, that uncertainty gives you a chance to keep hoping because you don't see anybody kind of pulling away from anyone, so to speak.
And with respect to Tulane, you put Cincinnati and Tulane at the top for good reason. I think that's fair. They're undefeated in conference. Tulane lost 1 nasty game to Southern Miss. But down the stretch, even for Tulane, Memphis, Tulsa, or at Tulsa versus UCF versus SMU at Cincy, is Tulane going to be able to stay sort of perched up there like that? It's just there's so many moving parts with this conference this year, and getting a beat on it's been tough, very tough.
Absolutely, and I think if you're Mike Oresco, the commissioner, you're probably happy because you want that parity to kind of play out in a good way. But it is very strange. Usually by now you kind of have a sense on who's what, who's where, and you're looking right now to see the stop probably Cincinnati Tulane as your AAC championship game, which nobody would have predicted, at least from a Tulane standpoint. So yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. And again, that's why I think if you're a Memphis fan, there's hope because you kind of want to see where it shakes out, but at the same time, you got to make sure you take care of business as Memphis. Otherwise, you're going to be on the other side of that shakeout party.
Evan, you're there for every win, every loss. Was this the most disconsolate you've ever been around Ryan Silverfield after a loss?
Oh, goodness. Well, because we weren't having in-person availability after UTSA, I would say probably yes, because remember, I don't believe we were not back in person, I believe, until the SMU game, I believe. So if you want to be the direct, I would say this was only because we weren't around him for the first half of his tenure.
Yeah, Zoom gave him a break on that.
Right. So as far as physically being around him, yes, it was definitely one of those. He just absolutely looked disconsolate. Seth Hennigan looked flustered. Everyone saw what Jalen Allen said about soaking the pain of this one. And honestly, they have to wear it. I mean, you play like that, you have to wear it. So again, we'll just have to see what happens on Saturday.
Yep, we will. And there's two ways to go. You can either sort of go swing coming up from this one, or you sort of
or wilt.
You wilt. I've seen both things happen, and it's always tough to take a loss like that you thought you had in the bag. Just heart gets ripped out. So we'll see what happens with this Tigers team going forward.
Evan,
ECU,
best wishes and safe travels. It's
Evan,
not
appreciate
easy getting to Greenville.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Evan. Evan Barnes with us from the Commercial Appeal on all things Memphis Tigers football. This hour of our show brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. They are very proud to serve DeSoto County and this entire area. All the cars test driven, all thoroughly examined, checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. And if they don't have the car you want, they'll go find that special car just for you. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. When you walk in, you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, down-home environment that care about you. They care about your time, and they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a very, very busy world where time really matters. That's why they have got this down. They have simplified the process. Find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork complete, and you're out of there in 45 minutes or less. It's a guarantee at DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road and online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. Go online and look at the cars and check out all the testimonials and all the repeat buyers through the years for DeSoto Auto Sales. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
So we do have an AFC West matchup tonight in Monday Night Football. Raiders at Chiefs.
The division that hates each other.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that on the other side. We have our favorite four from each team. We'll do that when we come back.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Acura of Memphis invites you to experience the all-new, completely redesigned 2022 Acura MDX. It's the most advanced SUV Acura has ever built. Experience the convenience of full connectivity, including built-in Alexa, Wi-Fi hotspot, and wireless charging, from the stunning interior complete with third-row seating. Stop by our state-of-the-art facility and take advantage of our aggressive APR offers today at Ridgeway and 385. Or shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Looking for a bar with it all? Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. Pimento's makes football your fantasy with 17 TVs and $2 draft beers during the game, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you know I love a great happy hour. At Pimento's, $4 house cocktails, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Yes, $4 house cocktails. Try one of their signature drinks like the JJ Spicy Margarita or the Tennessee Sunset. How about a Memphis Mudslide? Or be a kid again with the Adventure River Rum Punch. Hungry? Try a fan favorite, Bacon Pimento Cheeseburger. Or be like me and try them all. The Mushroom Extravaganza, Sweet Heat, and the Dirty, Mean, and Nasty. Need I say more? Well, yes, because there's so much more than just pimento cheese. Sliders, salads, quesadillas, 10 different appetizers. Just don't forget about dessert. 2 great locations, 6450 Poplar Avenue in East Memphis, and in Collierville, 3751 South Houston Levee Road. A bar with it all, Pimento's Burgers Bar and Grill. So much more than pimento cheese.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Hey sports fans, this is Ultimate Vegas Insider John Anthony, and I'm on fire. To prove it, I'm releasing your Monday Night Report free on a recorded message line. Call 1-800-244-5506. I love tonight's matchup. Las Vegas, Kansas City, side and total. Las Vegas, Kansas City, critical information confirmed. Plus Thursday, Washington, Chicago, and Saturday's early releases. 5 big plays, John Anthony has you covered. I love to go 5-0 free on the recorded message line. 1-800-244-5506. Information wins. John Anthony Sports, #1 against the spread. Las Vegas, Kansas City is a monster. Call 1-800-244-5506. You want information? I've got it. I love to go 5-0 over the season free. Call the recorded message line 1-800-244-5506. That's 1-800-244-5506. Or go to johnanthonysports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
So what if summer's coming to a close? It'll be back, and you'll be ready with a new spa. Why's that? Because the world's biggest spa sale is happening right now at Family Leisure. Right now, through October the 2nd, you will get the best ever prices on spas. Family Leisure has a large selection of spas still in stock and ready to ship, and up to 30% off. Yes, 30% off in-stock spas. You want a swim spa? Now's the time to buy with huge discounts just for you. Special financing is available. Plus, you can get free upgrades on select spas. Just ask about it. Family Leisure also has fantastic deals on saunas and massage chairs. So, while summer is coming to a close, you should be opening up to a new spa during the world's biggest spa sale happening right now through October the 2nd at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
I couldn't believe it either, but that thing runs like new.
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
My nail tech knows how to keep it a little secret. I don't wish for my success, I speak it. I caught a buzz and you did too, but you tweaking. I look like I've been getting money, how reeking. You smell me, that's LV. Walk around with my chest out and my skin smooth.
Back roll. Sports Time with Gabe and Stats. I'm Gabe. He is Stats. Now, we have Monday Night Football to talk about. I do have to mention this real quick. We don't have to talk about it because I don't really want to get into it. But it's funny how we forget things as the season goes along. We know Deshaun Watson's going to be back week 11 versus the Texans. He returned to Browns facility today. It was his day to return. So Deshaun Watson back practicing for the Browns. After that game,
Gabe won away yesterday.
Cade York just hits a field goal.
Kicker's gotta make that.
And Brandon Staley might have been fired for the Chargers. That was one of the more inexplicable decisions I've ever seen. 4th and 1 from his own 46.
I can't explain Brandon Staley and Zach Taylor. I can't do it.
Up 30 to 28. Up 30 to 28. 4th and 1 from his own 46. 1:14 left. He goes for it, misses it, and gives the Browns a look.
What are you doing
to win the game?
You say on Twitter, Keenan Allen,
his wide receiver was not there. He's at home, and he said, "What are we doing?" And then when the kick missed, he came back and said, "Boy, I'm glad he missed that."
Where's the owner, the general manager?
He said, "Because boy, oh boy, he must have the." You don't make those decisions unless you have the good graces of the general manager,
carte blanche
of the owner. You're not allowed to make those decisions if you're not on good terms with them.
I don't think analytics and football mesh. I think it's more of a field game.
And
watching proven down in distances for 100 years.
But also 4th and 1 from your own 46, 1:14 left. If you give up a field goal, you lose. Analytics don't tell you to go for that. Like Brandon Staley just
what kind of feel is that?
He freelanced it, and that's not a good feel. And after the game, he said, "I stand by my." Of course, you stand by it since they didn't make the field.
You know what Joe Burrow has to be thinking? I won a national championship for that clown, and I got this one to a Super Bowl. When can I get some coaching?
The last thing you want to see, speaking of Sunday Night Football, last thing you ever want to see is Justin Tucker to win a game.
Hey, put it on the board.
You lost.
Yes.
You lost. You lost. All right, now, Monday Night Football tonight. Raiders at Chiefs. Chiefs, I think 7 to 7.5 point favorites, depending on where you look.
7.5 with us. We don't push.
Are you ready for some numbers? Yep. Patrick Mahomes, 22-3 versus AFC West teams in his career. The most wins by any quarterback in his first 25 divisional starts. Also, 8 starts versus the Raiders. Chiefs have averaged 37.4 points per game, and they'll be at home. So, this is not boding well for the Raiders to start it. Now, I did have Raider Corey text in earlier, so I do have to read this. He said, "I'm still deflated and in shock about both Cardinals and Helsley collapsing and the Tigers' epic meltdown. Hopefully my Raiders can salvage a very rough weekend. Corey, hopefully is the word there. Hopefully is definitely the working term.
Well, I'm with you because I'm picking Vegas tonight plus 7.5.
Are you calling the straight upset?
No.
Okay.
Cardinals.
Or you Chiefs?
Cardinals.
Chiefs. It's been a long day.
You hosted the Jerry Lewis Telethon. You helped me with the hum all day. It's been a lot asking.
It's been a long day.
I guess I'll pick the Cardinals too. I'm just kidding. I'll pick the Chiefs.
Well, I had a Jim Otis reference earlier.
Jim Otis and
when
Jim
I wanted
Otto.
Jim Otto, man.
I'll take the Chiefs.
Tough day.
I'll take
You
the
got
Chiefs.
Kansas
The 7.5, and we have to do the hook, right? 7.5.
Saturday, you were 2-4. Bryant was 1-5. I was 3-3. Yesterday, Bryant was 3-2. I was 1-4, and you were 2-3.
Not a great weekend for me. Had a good one 2 weekends ago.
Baltimore let you down last night, Bryant.
Yeah, they let me down real bad.
Lions really let me down. They couldn't keep it close with the Pats. Bailey Zappi is that guy, huh?
I had Cleveland plus 3.5. I got there, but I didn't get my extra point for a straight-up win because of the missed Cade York field goal.
Now, I will say this. I wish that our Rams-Cowboys game was not on the main slate because that would have easily been a double shock for me because I would have said them straight up.
Favorite 4 all-time for the Raiders in a lot of different cities, and Kansas City, well, in 2 cities, Dallas and Kansas City. Nobody's going back to the Texans, are they? Nobody's picking out a favorite Well, Lynn Dawson, for me, did play with the Texans. I guess I'll start since I threw that out. Kansas City, number 1, Derek Thomas, the late, great Derek Thomas. Number 2, Willie Lanier. When I was watching the NFL in the formative years, he, along with Ray Nitschke and Dick Butkus, they were the middle linebackers that you could model football after. Number 3, Willie Rofe. Number 4, now, the late Lenny Dawson.
Mm-hmm. Now, for me, I go 4, the late, great Derek Thomas. I mean, seriously.
Off the edge.
Unreasonably good. 20 sacks in 1 year. He's top 10 all-time in sacks in the NFL, right?
He could have played tight end on offense, too.
Number 3, Dante Hall, the human joystick. Shout out. Unbelievable punt returner. I mean, just best I've ever seen. Number 2, I go Will Shields.
Hall of Famer.
Yep. And then number 1, give me Tony Gonzalez at the tight end position.
Best tight end ever?
Yeah. I'd say so.
In there with Gronk? Jason Witten?
I above Witten.
Definitely.
But here's the thing about Gronk. Gronk at his peak, probably best I've seen. But his peak was shorter.
It was short because of injury.
Yeah.
Bryant?
My top 4 for Kansas City, 4, Eric Berry, 3, Jamal Charles, 2, Dontari Poe, and then number 1, Tony Gonzalez.
The University of Memphis alumni office just called over Eric Berry. Can't believe you picked someone from UT, but his story's so good.
Yeah,
I had to.
Yeah, come on.
We can lay down. We can lay down.
Yes, come on.
His story's so
Guy
good.
came back from cancer. Let's let him.
Could have had Marcus Allen for both of these teams, fellas.
Yeah.
Instead, I just have him for 1. Raiders, number 1, the Snake. Number 2, Bo Jackson. 3, Marcus Allen. 4, Mr. Glue Guy with all that stickum on his hands, Fred Biletnikoff.
There you go. Was he a stickum guy?
He had it. He had more than Lester Hayes had it.
Number 4 for me, I go Gene Upshaw. I always have to throw in an O-lineman in there. Number 3, give me Charles Woodson. Number 2, Howie Long. And then number 1, give me Bo Jackson.
I love your list.
Well, and here's the thing about the Raiders. I'm curious where Bryant goes because he usually goes new age, like generally speaking. But you
They're all pretty new age.
I feel like with the Raiders, the success they had is with a lot of old school players, a lot of trailblazing type players. So, it's hard to keep them off
Todd
the list.
Christensen,
Now we'll see what you do.
Mark Van Egan.
Well, here's the thing about that, Gabe. I'm 22 years old, so
No, I
the
get
players
it. I
like
understand.
probably
I'm
not going to
not-
be
I'm
super
not
old
much-
school.
So you're not going Harry Shue, huh?
I'm
not much older than you.
Number 4, Michael Crabtree. Number 3, Amari Cooper. Number 2, Bo Jackson. And number 1, Darren McFadden.
Damn, I just needed Rich Gannon. If you threw Rich Gannon on there, I'd really feel
No
the
Tim
way.
Brown from any of us.
It's funny because Tim Brown was unbelievable, but like that, I saw the end of his career.
Did we have
When
a
he
Charles
was-
Woodson? Did anybody
Yeah,
have
I had
you
Charles
did, you
Woodson.
did, okay.
I saw Tim Brown at the end of his career, really, like my formative years, the end of his career when he was just not Tim Brown anymore, not quite there. Still good.
we'll get the Raiders again and we'll probably get Kansas City as well. I mean, we could go. I could go all night with Raiders. Phil Villapiano, linebacker. That
Dave Casper.
Like I
About
mentioned
Dave Casper
earlier.
There we go. They had a bunch of O-linemen. Come on.
Daryl LaMonica.
Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, gosh. That'd be a funny one. That'd be
He's
a
gonna be
great
on.
one.
If we do the list again, he's gonna be on
Kicker,
there.
Ray Guy.
Ooh,
Sebastian
that's a good
Seabass. Give me Seabass.
I think Janikowski should
Run
be
him
in
out
the
there
Hall of
for a 76-yarder. Like
Ray
Lane
Guy
Kiffin
was
did.
a great quarterback at Southern Miss and also a great pitcher in baseball.
Yeah. Really?
Unbelievable athlete.
A pitcher.
First punter in the Hall of Fame. We could have gone Jan Stenerud for Kansas City.
No, I should have done for the Chiefs too. Christian Okoye. That's right
Sure
up
could've.
that's right up your alley too. What are we doing?
Running the ball.
Come on, big fullback looking guy.
Larry Johnson.
Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes was a guy.
Jamal Charles.
They've had some backs now that we're recalling some names. How about that? Christian Okoye, though, I could have sworn was going to be on yours. Could have sworn.
Man,
I would have bet $1 million.
When he got to the next level, look out. He was going to punish something.
We have some people
and
say
then the Steve Atwater hit.
We have some texters coming in. Jim Plunkett, they say we need to mention.
Two-time Super Bowl winner.
Our guy 901 Steve. We mentioned this already though, but Marcus Allen. Says Marcus
Both teams for Marcus Allen.
All right, now we have to make more picks. We have more picks.
More picks.
Yeah, picks.
This is where we do hockey.
No, let's wait. Let's
Okay.
do hockey on the way out. Let's do our divisional series picks for the Phillies, Braves.
Brian, what were you in the
and
wild
the Mariners?
card? Gabe
and
was
Astros.
1-3. I was 2-2. What were you?
Oh, I was 3-1. Because I had Cleveland, Seattle. No, I was 2-2.
2-2.
I had the Cardinals. Yeah, so 2-2.
I lost on the Cardinals, won on San Diego, lost on Tampa Bay, won on Seattle. ALDS for me, Cleveland over the Yankees, 3-2, and Seattle 3-2 over Houston.
Brian, you go ahead.
No, you go. I did the wrong. Wrong.
So
one.
give me Astros 3-1 over the Mariners, and give me the Braves 3-2. Although I think the Phillies can stick in there.
Oh, I went all the way through all the picks.
Yeah, I was about to say, which ones were we doing?
I blew the segment tomorrow. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
I thought we were just picking the two today.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too. And then he pulled out
about to drive
Cleveland
me
and the
crazy.
Yankees.
I'm sorry.
I'll pick mine then. Guardians 3-1, and give me Dodgers 3-1 as well. Since we're going through all of them.
Wow, I guess I'll be going through all of them too. I'm taking the Braves 3-0. I'm taking Houston 3-1. I think the Mariners are able to sneak one out. I'll take oh boy.
Oh boy.
I'll take the Dodgers 3-2. And I'll take the Guardians.
There you
3-2.
go.
That a boy. We did it.
I want a Cleveland, Seattle ALCS and a San Diego, Philly NLCS.
Good luck. You'll get. You're now going to get Braves, and you're going to get all of the top seeds.
But I'd
just
be
'cause you
okay
said
with
that.
Braves. I'd be okay with Braves.
Yeah, but you're
anybody but
You-
Dodgers, Yankees.
you're
at
in-
this point.
Yeah, you and
Dodgers,
Rob
Yankees.
Manfred do not see eye to eye. do
No.
you?
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry the Mets lost. I love the Mets traditional blue hat with the orange and white. I hate it for Buck, and every Buck criticism comes back to haunt.
That was a choke. That was choking, guys. That's what it was.
What was St. Louis?
Choking
disagree.
too. I agree. I mean, I'm there.
Was St. Louis choking?
The top of the ninth to give up
I would
6
say
runs.
I would say St. Louis is more choking than
I would too,
than the
Brian.
Mets. I wouldn't consider the Mets choking.
I knew the
think-
Mets were
I
in
think
trouble when
they-
Juan Soto was bunting.
Yeah, I mean, I think they ran into a team that
Listen,
everyone thought was going to get
first-
hot at some time, and they got hot at the right
I just
time.
think by definition, first team ever to not make the divisional series, and they're 100-game winners. I mean, that's brutal.
Yankees fans loved
it's not
it.
good.
Oh yeah, but Yankees, I don't know how long the Yankees are gonna be
NHL
rolling.
Stanley Cup Finals and winner, Mr. Hockey expert Bryant Dacus.
Okay, boys, I think I'm going to go
Hey
with
boys, is
the
this your Canadian accent?
Colorado Avs over
that's
the Carolina Hurricanes.
That's great. Gabe,
No, I want to hear yours first.
I can't cook by accent. What accent? This is the only one I've got. I'm going to go my Maple Leafs leaves over my Predators.
Oh, wow. You know, the Maple Leafs, they need to get one in. It's a big year for them, so they really need to get something going.
Hey,
Oh
Hey.
gosh, Give me Avs versus Panthers, and give me the Avs winning. Avs are too talented.
Avs over
Panthers get Matt Tkachuk in the offseason, and they were already good. They have a bunch of good
Florida's
young players.
never won it. Carolina's won it. Colorado's won it. Nashville's never won it, and Toronto hadn't won it since '67.
Well, we know it's going to happen with them.
Next time we talk hockey, when? 2023?
Let's see.
I hope not.
Opening night tomorrow.
It's tomorrow,
yeah. Tomorrow. I'll bring it up.
Extended hockey segment tomorrow?
Let's go.
Yeah. I'll bring me
Don't
and Brian
threaten
will
our
bring
audience like this.
me and
We
Brian-
want them listening.
Oh, no, but here, this is not a hot take. Watching hockey on TV is one of the better sports to watch, in my opinion.
It's gotten so much better.
Truthfully. But I think the visibility, ESPN, that's helped a lot.
You got to be with ESPN.
But I got to be honest. I mean, it really, like, compared to even Major League Baseball at times.
Watch your mouth, Gabe.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. You can disagree with me all you want.
I respectfully disagree, big man. Tomorrow at 12:07, I know what I'm going to be watching.
Oh, man, I can't
That
wait.
doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it.
You're right. I get your point.
But it's faster. It moves along. Hits.
Crushed.
So
the
wait.
Cardinals are out, but I look so forward to tomorrow. I do. I swear.
Did you not like the 15-inning? Oh, what a game that
was epic, wasn't it?
Oh, that was unbelievable. That was the
Yeah.
best game of the season.
If
by
you looked
far.
at that box score,
Oh, yeah.
they were almost out of men.
Oh, they really were. I thought they were going to get out of
I
it.
wanted them to.
I did too.
My favorite one was the Mariners, though, coming back.
I texted
from
you,
Cleveland
8-1.
much better,
texted
and I'm a Seattle
And
fan.
I was busy during the Ole Miss game and texted you, take a look at that box score between Cleveland and Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
I
that's
love
something.
that game.
But the Mariners coming back the way they did was pretty
That was
sweet.
fun. That was
Because
fun.
I
It was
actually,
a lot of fun.
my number 2 when we did our 1 through 12 of who we want to see win, it was the Mariners. So they're now my number 1, right? By default.
Yeah,
because
they
Cardinals
have to
are
go
out,
up.
right? And by the way, Cardinals got a guy a job though. Rob Thompson got hired by the Phillies, full time, 2-year deal.
Good for him.
He earned it. Phillies were better.
They were.
Does he got a? I mean, he's got at least a gift, like a bottle of champagne or something for the Cardinals. He's got to send them something. That was
Sadsville Friday. Friday was a miserable sports day.
All right, we got to get to a break now. You're making me relive it. Let's get to Taco Bell Crunch time. We'll do that when we come back.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Here's another remarkable success story from QC Kinetics. This one from Chad, who hurt his knee at the gym one day, and it just kept on hurting for months.
From my high school football and wrestling days, I already had a little bit of damage in there, but this just sent it over the edge.
Chad tried traditional treatments with no improvement when he turned to the non-surgical regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics.
It was really fascinating how they did their work, and the science behind it was very intriguing, and it works. Extracting the cure out of my own body blew my mind. It's like I'm brand new again. It was fantastic.
That's because the QC Kinetics natural biologic treatments use your body's own healing power to restore damaged tissue in your hips, shoulders, back, and knees, providing long-lasting relief.
Now I'm back at the gym. I'm 100%, feeling great.
If you're tired of suffering with pain from arthritis or injury, call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. It's been a particularly rainy season, and that stain on your ceiling isn't getting any smaller, exposing your family to the possibility of mold. Let me come take a look. 867-0303. Our technicians are Owens Corning Platinum Preferred, so don't let someone tell you that it has to be replaced if all you need is a repair to get several more years of life. 867-0303. Have me on your speed dial for when life's little catastrophes come up. 867-0303. Upgrade your roof to a beautiful Owens Corning Duration architectural shingle with a 50-year warranty and an unheard of 25-year labor guarantee. I'll measure your roof from outer space and give you a competitive estimate right over the phone. Buy now and pay nothing till 2022 with approved credit. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, I want to talk about our seasoning and sauce today. Our sauce is a great blend of sweet, mustard, and vinegar. It's good on so many items other than barbecue. It's good on pizza. People use it in lieu of ketchup. But our seasoning is the original dry rub, created by my father using a mixture of Greek and Cajun spices. People think our sauce and seasoning are good just during the grilling season. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's good year-round. Our seasoning is good on fish, chicken, deviled eggs, corn on the cob, French fries. People even put a dash in a Bloody Mary. To get a complete list of all of our recipes using our products, go to hogsfly.com, click recipes, and you'll see 50 wonderful items and dishes. And Brett, our sauce and seasoning is available at most grocery stores, and if they don't have it, please remind your grocer to stock it. And our slaw is also available at most Kroger stores.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Attention sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you with the tables. You need a sportsbook with integrity, longevity, and you need to know you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers everything, including live betting, MMA, golf, horses, esports, and all kinds of crazy bets. Call today at 1-800-79-BET-US. That's 1-800-79-BET-US, and they will walk you through setting up an account. Nobody in the industry gives better bonuses than BetUS. Join now. Mention BetUS 2022, and you can get up to 200% in bonuses on your first deposit. Nobody beats that. Head to BetUS.com and join today. That's BetUS, where the game begins.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales.
You drove it, you love it. What more do you need to know?
Here once again are Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy.
Crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Brett, what I learned today is that 3-star shooting guard Ryan Forrest from Branson, Missouri, from Link Academy in Missouri, class of 2023, has committed to the University of Memphis. A 6'2" shooting guard. He committed on Instagram Live. Just, what was it, about 10 minutes ago, basically.
Yeah, basically.
So it looks like Penny has a high school recruit in the class of 2023.
I learned today, just like the bullpen when it lets you down, when special teams let you down, it's stark, it's glaring, it's noticeable. When it's rolling along fine, you just think that's part of it. It's easy. 1, 2, 3 in the ninth, Friday afternoon, how that would have changed things for the Cardinals. Easy special teams Friday night. The last 2 years, how that would change things for Ryan Silverfield.
Mm-hmm. What I could have done without, along those lines, all of the reaction today about how, irreparable damage that loss could have done, how the coaching was the issue late in that game. I thought there was some situational awareness. I do think there was some coaching involved in it. Not catching an onside kick, giving up a kickoff return as easy as you did. Those are coaching issues. But in the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how this team is going to respond going forward. They showed through 3 quarters they're capable of beating teams that were supposed to be and projected at the top of the conference. They showed through 3 quarters they were able to do that. Can they carry that over, though, having that loss on their record to the rest of the season? We will see. And that's the only response that's going to matter.
And that's one that can define you. That kind of loss can really start a signal some tough times ahead. That kind of win is a defining win. We know through the years that can do that. Could have done without Jimbo Fisher. He didn't get the loss a lot of people were expecting, but he didn't get a win either, and it was right there for him to pull it out. He is an utterly average coach. His team is talented, but it's not well coached. It isn't sharp. Drops, poor offensive line play, indecisive at the quarterback position, and uninspiring total around his team, and still had a chance to win the May war of words. He didn't. Now Big Mouth Jimbo's 3-3.
And the schedule's still
3-3.
Schedule, we've talked about it for 2 straight weeks, but the schedule's still tough going forward for him. So
I saw one bowl scenario today that had him in the Independence Bowl. That's a lot of money to go to Shreveport.
Can't back out of it, though. I don't know if the excuses are there, as they were last year. But what we're looking forward to tonight, Raiders at Chiefs. See if the Raiders can play like we thought they'd be able to play. You picked them for the Super Bowl. A lot of people picked them to be a playoff team. See if
mismatch at quarterback, isn't it? Derek Carr is not close to being in Patrick Mahomes' league, but a lot aren't.
There's not many in his league, but I thought Derek Carr would be better to this point in the year. But this buddy ball, trying to force it to Devontae Adams, has taken him out of his game, it feels like.
Kansas City averaging second most points in the NFL at 32. I don't think the Raiders can beat them unless they hold them to around 27 or 28. I don't even know if we can do that before we reassemble tomorrow at 3. Divisional series start tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
12:07 in Atlanta, the home of the champs. 4 games tomorrow from 12 noon to about 12 midnight.
It'll be good. It'll be good to see. Also, I have to mention this before we get off. The Braves signed another young piece. Did you see that today?
Their front office does so many smart things.
Spencer Strider signed to 6 years, $75 million. That's not going to be that much.
You know they did the medicals on him. They don't sign up for that much without checking out everything.
He's 22?
Yeah.
I mean, he's young. He's young. He throws 98
Can have Tommy John shut him down for 2 or 3 years and he'd be okay.
Back. I mean, they have just been so smart. Alex Anthopoulos needs all the credit in the world for what he's been able to do with that young core. We do start NHL tomorrow. We start late, though. So it'll be later, right? 6:30 and then 9 o'clock.
Games, yeah.
And then everything's going to get kicked off on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
that'll be interesting. I know that you can't wait for NHL talk, right, Brad?
Can't wait.
Excited.
Wall-to-wall cracking on Wednesday.
my Preds and my Leafs. Whatever.
Leafs. Still trying to figure that one out.
Leafs. I think it's Leafs. I think they go Maple Leafs,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's not proper.
But the plural
proper
of
English. It's
is
Leafs.
Those
Yes.
Canadians.
Yeah. Just doing things different.
Yeah.
For why? For why, eh? For why? But anyway, that's all we'll have for today. Thanks for joining us. And also, before we get here tomorrow, we're going to have to talk about, and this is going to be on the docket tomorrow, Tom Brady and that Grady Jarrett sack. We're going to have to.
And that kick.
We're going to have to get into it.
He tried to kick him.
That's
bogus.
And it was 3rd and 5, could have changed the game for the Falcons in a comeback scenario, and they call
that's the end of football if that's a penalty.
And they call a roughing the passer.
Great cover, though, by the Falcons.
I guess so. They keep covering. They're 5 for 5. We'll talk about that heavy tomorrow. But thanks for joining us. Thanks to Caden Priestcorn, David Cobb, and Evan Barnes for their contributions to today's show. For Bryant, for Brett, I'm Gabe. Enjoy your night and be safe. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
I often say they've set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. You know how close that is. It's right there at Highway 78, Lamar Avenue, and Craft Road, the very first exit in Mississippi. I say it because they always come up with new innovations. And right now, when we've had all these shortages on new cars, Homer Skelton Hyundai is always going to come through for you. You won't pay more than the sticker price for a new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Chris True's pledge. You'll never pay more than sticker price. Those other guys, they could charge you a whole lot more for that new car because they know there's a shortage. That never happens at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's part of the philosophy and the team that's been together for about 15 years now. You want the best